Seen it over and over and over. That's another wild pitch. Great play by Alex Miranda. Yep. Soriano retreating on this one over the shoulder. How do you do, Jose? He is back near the track and makes the catch to end the ball game. So a fitting ending for the Whitecaps.
Now, live coverage of the West Michigan Whitecaps and the Fort Wayne Wizards here on TV 13.
Well, 10 days ago, the West Michigan Whitecaps were left for dead in the pennant race in the Midwest League. The team was not playing well. The offense was stagnant, and Ben Grieve was gone to Modesto of the Class A League in California. But suddenly, the Whitecaps have turned things around. They have won 6 of the last 8, and right now they are in the thick of the race again to earn a wild card playoff spot. Hi, everyone. I'm Tom Cleary along with John Matlack, and welcome to our TV 13 telecast of the Whitecaps and the Fort Wayne Wizards. John, this team has gone through a resurgence, and now the end of the tunnel is in sight.
Well, if the season were to end today, they would clinch one of the 2 wild card spots. But there are 2 teams within a game and a half behind them, so it's really wide open with a week plus to go. Something to consider. The Whitecaps have a doubleheader tomorrow, a makeup doubleheader. It is a makeup doubleheader on Tuesday as well, and they're playing 5 games in 3 days against the South Bend team that's one of the teams battling for a wild card spot. So in summation, they're in there, but so is everybody else, basically.
Well, before the end of the year, we should see a new player in uniform for the Whitecaps, Damon Smith. Now, he was part of that deal involving California and Oakland. California gets veteran Mike Aldretti. In return, Oakland and the Whitecaps get a great prospect, but he's not here tonight. We thought we might see him.
Well, he was the leading hitter in the Midwest League, then was sent up to the higher Class A team at Lake Elsinore, California. He was due in for this game, but he missed his flight and will raise the same eyebrows that some of the Whitecaps have raised. The suggestion has been made that maybe he wasn't anxious to get back to the Midwest after being moved up in Class A. Nonetheless, we are told that he could be here late in this game, if not tonight, then for the doubleheader tomorrow in Fort Wayne.
Now, the Whitecaps had won 3 in a row until losing a close one here last night. They'll try to get back at the Fort Wayne Wizards before another large crowd here at Old Kent Park.
This TV 13 sports presentation is brought to you by Rogers Department Store, Greater Michigan Ford Dealers, Bombardier, Blodgett Memorial Medical Center, your local Dodge dealer, Tailored Building Systems, your local Auto Value Parts Store, Star Theaters, your West Michigan GMC truck dealers, by Miller Genuine Draft, Z-Bar Tidy Car, Saturn of Grand Rapids, and by Old Kent Bank.
Now, at your 4 Grand Rapids Ford dealers, there's Contour. Just $199 a month at your 4 Grand Rapids Ford dealers. Duttler, Borgman, Tony Benton, and Keller.
You're looking for a new suit? Well, this is the place to be. Rogers Men's Suit Department, featuring the largest selection of men's suits and sport coats in West Michigan. You'll appreciate the quality name brands. Choose from names like Hickey Freeman, Hart Schaffner and Marks, Palm Beach, Austin Reed, Tommy Hilfiger, and many others. And Rogers' expert tailoring department assures you a perfect fit. Rogers Men's Suit Department. There is no other store quite like it anywhere in Michigan.
Hi there. Hi. Can I help you?
Yeah, I'd like to.
Ski-Doo has been hitting bullseyes. And the competition? Well, maybe next year. Buy Ski-Doo now with no money down, no payments or interest until January, and get a year of extended service free. A Ski-Doo Super Celebration going on now. See your Northwest Michigan Ski-Doo Association dealer or call 1-800-9-SKI-DOO.
You were told by Channel 13.
Experience.
But he did tell me this whole situation stems from a case of sour grapes.
Just moments ago, tactical units came up to us shouting, "He's got you in the sights."
Highest-ranking executive not related to the co-founders of Amway.
The difference between breaking the story and reporting the story is experience. The Eyewitness News Team. More years covering news than any other news source in West Michigan. Eyewitness News 13. Experience the difference.
And welcome
Welcome back to Old Kent Park. I'm Tom Cleary along with John Matlack. Patrick Clark will be joining us later from down on the field. Let's take a look at the way they'll line up defensively for the Whitecaps tonight, John, against these Fort Wayne Wizards.
All right, around the Whitecaps outfield, David Newhan is the left fielder. Jose Soriano, Mr. Defense, is in center, and Emil Brown patrols right field. Around the infield, Jeffrey D'Amico is at third. Fred Soriano, who's been banged up a little bit lately, is back at shortstop. Jose Castro at second. Alex Miranda, the fixture at first base. The catcher is Rob DeBoer. And Andy Smith is the starting pitcher. Smith 4-8 on the year with a 3.95 earned run average.
Now, the Fort Wayne Wizards are a team that will throw some speed and some power at you, and this is the batting order for the Wizards tonight.
Center fielder Armand Brown bats leadoff. He's not hitting big numbers, but he's got a great stolen base percentage. Israel Paez, the second baseman, bats second. Then you get into the all-star lineup. Corey Koski is at third base, batting .305. First baseman is Troy Fortin. Kelsey Mucker, the right fielder, will bat fifth. Shane Gunderson is in left field, batting sixth. Adrian Gordon, the designated hitter, bats seventh. The catcher, Scott Hilt, will bat eighth. And batting in the 9-hole, Mike Moriarty, the shortstop.
All right, it's the Whitecaps and the Wizards coming up next here on TV 13.
Some people believe in sunroofs. Some people don't. Z-Bar Tidy Car. We're North America's #1 installer. Believe it.
Our line of sunroofs start at $169.95. Our truck and van hitches start at $119.95.
So make contact with Z-Bar Tidy Car. We're in the white pages.
Don't wait any longer to visit the Dodge Buyer's Choice Final Cleanup. Don't miss your chance to choose up to $1,200 off a roomy, zoomy Dodge Neon. Or to choose an interest rate clipped to as low as 1.9%. Or to choose a very lean Neon lease rate of only $179 a month. So hurry in today before all your best Neon choices are all cleaned out. See the friendly Dodge dealer near you.
Hi, remember me, the son? Where have you been? You haven't been by to visit, because I know, but you could for free, because every time you charge on your Old Kent credit card, you earn card miles, the fastest way to fly, for free on any U.S. airline. So call 1-800-949-FREE for an Old Kent credit card. And come see me. Ooh, and don't forget your sunscreen.
Beer after beer, cold filtered, smoother drinking, Miller Genuine Draft. It just comes easy.
Now, at your 4 Grand Rapids Ford dealers, there's Contour. Just $199 a month at your 4 Grand Rapids Ford dealers. Duttler, Borgman, Tony Benton, and Keller.
All right, we're back for baseball here at Old Kent Park. Tom Cleary along with John Matlack and Patrick Clark with you this evening on TV 13. And this big guy is Andy Smith. John, tell us a little bit about him.
Smith is 4-8 on the season, Tom, with a 3.95 earned run average. A couple of saves coming out of the bullpen. He has appeared in 28 games, starting 20 of them. In 111 and 2/3 innings, he has given up 108 hits, 66 runs, but just 49 of those are earned. So there are 17 unearned runs in that collection there. He has struck out 61. He has walked 66. The opponents are batting .252 against him. You know, at the end of the season, Tom, it's downright boring to be on a team that's playing out the string. Well, neither of these teams here tonight are in a situation like that, and the Whitecaps drawing the big crowd regardless. But you've got the extra motivation because, as we said in our open, there is a wild card playoff spot at stake involving each and every game they have left.
Like a half dozen teams competing now for a couple of spots at the bottom of the table, and we'll talk more about that as the night goes on. First pitch of the ball game is a P on the knees, at the knees for strike one. Andy Smith with a fastball to start off. Armand Brown, the leadoff hitter here tonight, batting under .230, but a guy that can hurt you if he gets on base. And D'Amico's in close at third for the Caps. This time it's a breaking ball that floats away to even the count at 1-1. Beautiful night here, and once again a huge crowd. That goes without saying at Old Kent Park. Don't know if it's quite another record breaker. I see some patches of lawn down the right field line that are, as of yet, unoccupied, but still some folks driving in here to enjoy the action. If you can't get out tonight, well, we're glad to have you with us on Channel 13. 2-1 now to Armand Brown, the leadoff hitter for the Fort Wayne Wizards. Smith trying to keep the ball down on Armand Brown, and he has run the count now to 3-1.
Wizards 34-27 the second half of the season. That's good for second in the Midwest League's Eastern Division.
Good pitch right there. He paints the outside corner, and the count runs full now to the leadoff man, Armand Brown. Israel Paez is on deck, and those two will be followed by Corey Koski, the Canadian third baseman for the Fort Wayne Wizards. And we have our first base runner as Smith misses inside.
Well, Tom told you that Armand Brown is a speedster. He is 23 of 29 in the stolen base category, so hasn't accumulated a lot, but he's got a good solid position, or a good solid percentage when he does choose to steal, and he's got a pretty good guy with the bat behind him, the classic number 2 hitter. Israel Paez, the second baseman, is batting .266. Has a home run and 43 RBIs, but handles the stick very well.
Paez has been a starter most of the year. He's played in 106 ball games. He is inching toward that 400 at-bat mark. Good lead for Brown, and he fakes and goes back, and it's a strike on a breaking ball from Andy Smith. Boy, he had a good jump that time, but he was just tugging on Andy Smith's chain a little bit there, and he retreated to first base. Infield in double play depth, Castro and Soriano, the middle infielders, shading toward second. D'Amico is back a step or so at third, so perhaps the Caps not looking for the bunt in this situation. Dan Roan is the manager of the Fort Wayne Wizards, a guy from Alpena, Michigan, who we've talked about on past telecasts. Great college star at Central Michigan, a guy that played for a number of different teams professionally, primarily with the Chicago Cubs as a major leaguer, and that's a breaking ball at the letters and the strike. And it's now a strike 2 count on Israel Paez. Outfield is shaded to right. You see Soriano playing about 15 or 20 feet toward right center field, medium depth.
Surprised that they're shading him to right a little bit because Smith has thrown more off-speed stuff than hard stuff so far.
Toss over to keep Armand Brown on his toes, or on his belly, you might say. Wind blowing a little bit out of the west here tonight. It appears to be out of the west. I'm guessing it might be a little bit out of the northwest, actually, John. There goes Brown. The pitch is swung and fouled. It's a break for the Whitecaps there because Brown was off and flying, and he had that base probably stolen.
Oh, yeah, no question about it, Tom. He was already beginning the landing approach, if you will, when Paez fouled that back. Whitecaps pitchers on the year with a team earned run average of 4.07. That is 9th out of the 14 teams. And there you see the tremendous jump that Brown had. And he's already laying off his approach after Paez fouls it back.
Not going this time, and it's a little hopper over the mound. They're going to have to play to first to hurry, and a nice play by Castro over to Alex Miranda for out number 1 in the inning. But Brown very quickly, no chance to get him, a little hopper over the head of the pitcher. And Castro is able to take it on the big hop and throw over in time to Alex Miranda for out number 1. Good play all the way around there by Jose Castro, the Whitecaps' second baseman. So a runner at second with 1 gone here in the top of the first. And stepping in now is Corey Koski, the third baseman. Koski's had a fine year, batting .305, 13 homers and 72 RBIs. Probably a guy that's not long for the Class A Midwest League. And Brown dances off second base and does not go, and the pitch is outside for ball 1.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Tom, Smith had better keep an eye on Armand Brown at second because he had a walking lead, just kind of testing whether anybody was paying attention, and he broke that into a trot, and still no one paid attention. There you see him there.
Well, I tell you about this guy, Corey Koski. We'll talk about some stats of his in just a second. Smith bluffs the runner back to second base. The Whitecaps have nobody on their team with a slugging percentage in the 4s, over, say, 400. Corey Koski with a slugging percentage this year of .501. Guy that would fit very nicely with this Whitecaps lineup. This is a grounder, a couple of hopper down to Castro. Nice play again to Miranda. The runner moves to third, and 2 ground balls have Andy Smith 1 out away from being out of trouble here in the top half of the first.
Take another look at it. Smith got it down over the plate, and Koski hammered it into the dirt, into the grass, and so Castro was able to get over there and take care of it rather easily. 2 outs, runner on third. We're in the top of the first inning. We are scoreless, at least right now we are.
And this is Troy Fortin. Boy, the operative word there was down. That pitch was really down over the plate, but very low, and a pitch that Koski could not afford to take, but he could hit it nowhere but into the ground. And that's ball 1 on Troy Fortin, who's hitting .260 with 7 home runs on the year. A smash foul, and whoa. He almost got Armand Brown, who wisely was in foul territory there. That batted ball hits him while he was across the line. He is out number 3, but that seldom happens with a runner at third base. Every once in a while, though, you'll see a runner get a little casual, John, a little too close to the line, or maybe wander, and he was very close to being in fair territory.
He was close, and so was the hit, and so the combination had him up in the air a little bit. Nice stop there by Rob DeVore of a pitch that was down in the dirt. Would have scored the lead run, the first run.
Rob DeVore, the ex-football player from the University of South Carolina, and he went into the goal line defensive stand on that particular pitch. Just has to keep it in front of him here. 2-1 count with 2 gone in the first inning. Outfield swung way to left. They're expecting this guy to pull. Oh, a nice off-speed delivery. Smith pulled the string, and Fortin had a weak hack at that one. And the count goes to 2-2. On deck is Kelsey Mucker, the right fielder for Fort Wayne, if Troy Fortin can keep it alive. Big shift on the infield. Look at Soriano way over toward third. This one's up high, and the count runs full.
And the second baseman, Jose Castro, is not pulled over symmetrically, so there is a huge hole. I don't know if we can get a shot of it, guys. The gap between, there you see shortstop Fred Soriano pulled over, and there's the second baseman, Jose Castro. Big hole there. Did he check his swing?
Well, they're going to go out and get some help, and the umpire, the base umpire, said no. So Fortin draws a walk. That's the guy that Andy Smith wanted to get, because now he's going to have to face a big left-handed hitter in Kelsey Mucker, the right fielder. Andy a little unhappy with himself there. Threw a pretty good spinner up there, and he almost got Fortin to go for it, but Fortin held up, and now runners at the corner. And the Whitecaps shift back into a more traditional defensive alignment. The infielders playing about medium depth all the way around, and the outfield a little bit around to right for Kelsey Mucker.
We did not mention who our umpires are. Let us tell you that Chris Heimler is behind the plate, and Jeff Spadowski is working the bases tonight.
Mucker takes it just outside for ball 1. .230 batting average for this guy in 103 ball games this year. Does have some power with 7 home runs, but he's not had the kind of production I'm sure that Dan Roan has looked for from him this season.
If you're thinking about them sending Troy Fortin out first, he's tried to steal 7 times this year, and he's been thrown out 5. So I think there's a couple of large weights tied to him right now.
Well, you could be a optimist and say that he has the element of surprise working in his favor, but
or you could be a realist.
That might not be enough in this situation. I don't think with a man at third they're going to run him with 2 out. And here's a foul back toward our box, but a couple over, and this one bounces back into the crowd. Souvenir baseball. The count is 2-1 now on Kelsey Mucker. 2 gone, 2 on in the top of the first inning. Armand Brown led off with a walk. He moved up on a couple of grounders to second, and then Fortin walked. So Andy Smith has had some wildness here in the first frame of this ball game. We expect to have over 8,000 fans in here before it's all said and done.
Yeah, this game was announced as a sellout some time ago, so probably 8,600.
And this is the first run of the game, about to score right here on this gap shot. Soriano can't get over to cut it off. Maybe 2 will score. They're going to waive Fortin, I believe, and he's going to make it easily. And it's 2-0 Fort Wayne on the 2-out double by Kelsey Mucker, a gap shot that eluded Soriano. And once it got past the Whitecap center fielder, John, Fortin, who moves pretty good for a big man, actually, coming around the bases, had no difficulty touching the last 3 to add to the Fort Wayne lead.
It is an ancient baseball truism that walks will come around and bite you back, and that's the only way anybody got on base for the Wizards heretofore. And there you see Mucker just stay with it and really get the bat out. Nice level stroke and launch that, and once it gets past the center fielder, Jose Soriano, not much doubt that Fortin is going to score behind Brown. So just when Andy Smith thought he might have wiggled out of the jam. Mucker dumps him back into the jam. Isn't that a famous jam and jelly maker, Mucker?
Well, it's 2-0 right now in favor of the Wizards. You know, Soriano's probably second-guessing himself, John. He took a rather sharp angle toward that ball, thinking it might hold up for him to catch it. But once he saw he wasn't going to catch it, he began to wish, I'm sure, that he had angled for it a little bit. He would have had a chance to cut that one off and prevent the run from scoring, but he had to make a bang-bang decision on that one, and unfortunately for the Whitecaps, it didn't turn out to be the right one. So on the strength of only one hit, the Wizards have scored 2 here in the first, and they're threatening to get some more. 1-1 is the count on Shane Gunderson. Ouch. And this one got somebody. I think Gunderson right on the left foot. Yeah, got his foot. Andy Smith has not had a good week at home. He was the losing pitcher, I believe, on Monday. The Whitecaps were defeated by Burlington. And here's the replay. Sharp ball breaking down, and he calls it right off. It looked like the inside of his left foot. But Andy Smith has got to keep his team in right now and give the Whitecaps, who've scored some runs lately, not last night, but they've had a couple of offensive outbursts here this week. So it's a hot night. The ball will probably be flying pretty well. This one is a called third strike. And Gunderson goes down, but not before some damage is done. A couple of runs on a hit, a man left. We go to the bottom of the first. The Whitecaps have fallen behind. It's 2-0.
If you've been waiting for a great buy on a GMC truck, this is it. Year-end closeout. Right now, get the lowest prices of the year on all remaining 1995 Jimmys. This Ford utility has it all. Comfort, power, safety, lots of room, and great looks. Also, take advantage of year-end discounts on Sonoma Sport pickups. Plus $500 cash back on selected models. It's closeout time at your West Michigan GMC truck dealers.
Son, make sure you get this exact part, but don't go to Cheap Auto Parts. I need it this week. And don't go to Zippy Boys. I haven't been to the bank today.
Where do you want me to go?
Auto Value's large inventory means you'll get the part you want when you want it. For real selection and everyday low prices, shop where the professional mechanics shop. Auto Value.
Listen to your mother. Go to Auto Value.
Auto Value. The parts you want, the value you expect.
Muskegon Community College builds careers. MCC is the smart choice for convenience.
Thanks, MCC.
For the money you save.
Thanks, MCC.
And for training that prepares you for a better job.
Thanks, MCC.
And the new Muskegon Center for Higher Education offers additional 4-year degree programs. To register, call or visit MCC. Higher education at a lower price.
Muskegon Community College.
All right, here's how the Wizards will line up defensively in the outfield. Shane Gunderson is in left, Armand Brown at center, Kelsey Mucker is in right. Across the infield, it's Corey Koski at third, Mike Moriarty at shortstop, Israel Paez at second, Troy Fortin at first. Scott Hilt is the catcher, and Jason Bell. 2-1 record is on the hill, 1.42 earned run average, so this is a formidable pitcher. Here's the Whitecaps batting order. Jose Castro, the second baseman, bats first. David Newhan, the left fielder, is second. Emil Brown bats third. Jeffrey D'Amico is the third baseman and the cleanup hitter tonight. Alex Miranda at first, bats fifth. Catcher Rob DeBoer bats sixth. The center fielder, Jose Soriano, will bat seventh. Eric Harris is the designated hitter, batting eighth. And shortstop Freddie Soriano will bat ninth.
So here's Jose Castro stepping in, a .232 batting average on the year for Jose. He's played in 105 ball games, 375 at bats. He's had a single home run and 36 RBIs.
If there has been anything that's been a bugaboo for the Whitecaps this year, Tommy, it has been hitting. They are 13th of the 14 teams in the Midwest League in batting average, hitting .234 as a team. And their top hitter in the lineup tonight, Fred Soriano, is batting .263.
And he's also their ninth hitter.
He's also their ninth hitter, right.
You look at the Whitecaps lineup, John, you see D'Amico, for instance, hitting cleanup, and that tells you that this team has a serious power problem. D'Amico has picked up his numbers in deference to him. He was down under 200 much of the first half of the season. He's up around 230 right now, so he's actually had a pretty good second half, but he does not have the kind of home run power. He will hit the occasional long ball, but he's not the kind of home run hitter you'd like to see in that particular spot.
And this was a team in spring training anyway when we were down in Arizona that was ballyhooed as a team that was going to hit better. So that's not been the case so far this year.
Jason Bell finally finds the plate on his 4th delivery. 3-1 the count now on Castro, leading off for the Whitecaps here in the bottom of the 1st at Old Kent Park. Baseball tonight on TV 13, and that one's on the corner for strike 2. So Jose has looked at 5 straight, and he's going to have to make it happen on this one. David Newhan waiting on deck, young guy that we have not yet seen on one of our telecasts, the new acquisition. And here's a line drive to left field. It's going to drop in for a base hit. So Jose Castro barely makes it down there at first base. It was a bang-bang play. The left fielder, John, had a chance, I guess, to throw him out, but with a head-first slide, Jose gets in.
Well, you're being very gracious to him. He's going to make sure all the body parts are still connected where they're supposed to be.
A little bit embarrassing there. He really didn't have much of a chance to do anything beyond that. We'll take a look at it again here as Jose slaps the 3-2 pitch, and he's going, and he is gone. It looked like a water skiing accident. But the Whitecaps have a man aboard, and here is the young guy that we'll have a chance to talk about as the night goes on, David Newhan, young man from California, who came up from Southern Oregon. Got off to a pretty quick start, but he slowed down some since then. Left-handed hitter. He's playing in the outfield tonight. He has essentially been the replacement for Ben Grieve since Grieve departed.
And you'll keep an eye on Jose Castro at first because, at least in attempts, he is the most prolific base stealer for the Whitecaps. He's tried 65 and has been successful 47 times. He almost got burned there, too.
Yeah, they caught him leaning a little bit that time, but he did not have the full measure of his good lead. Otherwise, he'd have been a goner. Pretty good move over there by Jason Bell, the right-hander.
Take a look at him. Just start to lean a little bit off, more frozen than lean. He was the deer in the proverbial headlights for a second or two before he finally got back.
Real good throw there. Might have gotten him. Yeah. Scott Hild is working behind the plate tonight, and that may turn out to be a break for the Whitecaps. Jose Valentin, the first-string catcher on this squad, is not in the lineup as of yet. He's a guy that just murders Whitecaps pitching, and he's one of the top players in the Midwest League. Yep. Hitting well over 300 for the year, and a big power guy as well.
Last series in here had 2 3-run home runs. I think it was on back-to-back nights. So he just loves Old Kent Park.
Decidedly open stance here for Newhan, and he takes it inside for ball 1. David Newhan's a young guy, played college baseball. I believe he was a member of the Pepperdine Waves baseball team out in California. And if I'm not mistaken, John, I believe his father is a sports writer.
Los Angeles Times.
It's nice when you got somebody in the family working the agate section on a Saturday. If he ever gets to the bigs, that might work out in his favor.
Great looking stats day after day.
On the outside corner for strike 1.
There you see Jason Bell, 2-1 on the year. 1.42 earned run average.
Pitched in only 7 ball games, though, so he's a late arrival. I don't know his full history, but I believe he's a guy that joined the team sometime after the amateur draft. Pitching very well right now, though, for Dan Roan and the Fort Wayne Wizards. Pretty good lead by Castro. He's not going, and they're pitching out. They have the same notion. It's 2-1 now with Emil Brown waiting on deck for the Whitecaps. Toss over to first base. You know, we've talked to some of the hitters during the course of the year, John, and the feeling right now is that Old Kent Park is not a great hitter's park. And the Whitecaps haven't had a lot of home run production, but I had a chance to talk with Toby Komanek, the young guy who played at Central Michigan, who's now playing in the Midwest League, and he said that he didn't think the ball went that well here. Great jump by Jose Castro, and he is in at second base with a stolen base. And the Whitecaps suddenly have a man in scoring position.
I think Jose Castro earned that one off the pitcher, Jason Bell, because after all the throws over, look at the jump that he gets. It's a good jump, not a great jump, but a good jump, and he's got great speed. So he's halfway there before anybody is really going to do anything with it, and it was not an altogether terrific throw by Scott Hilton. it would have taken a perfect throw, I think, to get him.
Yeah, it was a pretty good throw considering the lead, and now Castro may be banged up again. I'm not sure what happened here, John, if he hurt his hand or...
No, he's okay.
Just,
I saw Doc Thorson pop out of the dugout.
I think he broke his belt. Is that what happened?
Well, let me see. Now, he falls going to first base and gets every square inch of his body dirty. Then he's sliding into second base, and he loses his belt. Fortunately, it was no more than his belt. One only shudders to think what happens as he goes to third and home.
Let's hope that he doesn't know who Steve Lyons is.
Yes.
The White Sox player a couple of years ago who dropped trow at Tiger Stadium after sliding into a base and tried to dust off and
dusting off.
Forgot about one little thing, that there were about 25,000 folks in the stadium that night who were sort of watching his act.
And a few television cameras as well. Well, Jose has strapped it on, so to speak. He's okay. He's ready to go. And the count is 3-1 to David Newhand. Still nobody out in the bottom of the first with the Wizards leading early, 2-0.
Newhand taps it foul, and this one will roll back to the on-deck circle. 3-2 count now on David Newhand. And there you see Dan Roan. He is the player on the Fort Wayne team member on the right there, wiping his face off. Still looks youthful enough. And we're going in on the coaching staff. I think that's Stu Clyburn.
In the back is Stu Clyburn with the mustache.
And David Newhand called time just before that pitch was delivered. Got tired of waiting on Jason Bell. And that was Chris Heimler who jumped out to stop the action before the pitch could be delivered.
They may want to nudge Jason Bell periodically to make sure that he's still paying attention, because he is, at best, leisurely in his working efforts.
On to the Four Corners offense here with a man on second. Here's a grounder to second that will get the runner to third. Newhand's going to hustle, but he's out by a step. On the play by Israel Paez over to Troy Fortin. So one gone. It's as good as a bunt. And on the Whitecaps have a couple of shots at bringing in the man from third base.
He had a hole there, and I think Newhand was trying to shoot it up a little bit further towards second base. Couldn't quite get it there, but Israel Paez gloved it and threw him out by 3 or 4 steps. But he does advance Jose Castro to third, so one out. Runner at third is Castro and Emil Brown. And your number 3 batter, ostensibly your best hitter in the baseball lineup, in with a .255 batting average.
This is a guy who's had a miserable second half, John. He had a great first half, made the All-Star team, and just hasn't been able to find himself. At one time hitting over 320, I think, during one of our earlier telecasts this year, and now he is down around 2.5. 255 the batting average.
Excuse me, Tom. I remember I did a live interview with him when we were down in Battle Creek, I believe, and asking him why he was so hot, and he said, well, I just pictured a little box over the plate, and when it was in that box, he hit it. It's a trick box the second half because he hasn't been able to figure it out at all.
Emil perhaps a little bit jumpy up there right now. He's swung at the first 2 pitches, and he finds himself quickly in the hole, and now he's got to fight this one off and put it in play somewhere, and it's a pitch that gets past the catcher, but Castro did the right thing holding up. Hilt never found it, but had he found it and had Castro been coming, I think it would have been easy out of the play.
Jason Bell did not hesitate. He saw the ball all the way, and he broke in as he is supposed to do. Good point there, Tom. By the time Hilt had found it, Bell was just about at home plate, and Castro would have made a big base running blunder.
Yeah. If the pitcher doesn't come in, maybe Jose thinks he can make it. He's got a couple of different things that then have to happen. But the pitcher was right there, and I think that sort of deterred Jose a little bit. 1-2 pitch coming up to Emil Brown. Wants to get it in play, and this one bounces away, and they're going to try to score. No, he goes back. Pretty much the same kind of play. It bounced a little bit to the right. Hilt didn't see it, and Emil Brown started to wave Castro, but Castro, really, you have to err on the side of conservatism in that particular play down 2.
And the determining factor there is if he goes immediately, you go. But he didn't know how far it was going to go until now when he sees it carom clear. And you can't get a late start now because you're just hung up in the middle. So you either go immediately or you don't go. And I think that's a wise decision. And in fact, he may have been ready to go, and Jim Colborn was down there with a rope trying to lasso him back.
Now they're obviously trying to curve Emil here. 2-2. The last 2 have been 58-footers. Let's see if he can straighten one out. And he goes for a bad one, and it's strike 3. And that, I guess, is The essence of a slumping hitter right there. Neil Brown just kind of clueless at the plate right now and really did not have a good feel for that at bat at all.
Nope. Not one of his 3 swings you would mark down as a good swing. And so Scott Hilt, the catcher, goes out to confer with Jason Bell after those 2 wide ones almost chased in a run. 2 outs, Jeffrey D'Amico, the cleanup hitter, still has Jose Castro anchored at third. He led off the bottom of the first with a base hit, stole second, and advanced to third on David Newham's bouncer to second. But there he stands right now.
Well, D'Amico, as we mentioned, has picked up the numbers of late up to 226. He has played in... D'Amico has played in 115 ball games, and he will ring up his 400th at-bat in this game tonight. This one is on the inside corner for a strike. 2-0 our score. It's the Whitecaps trailing the Wizards here at Old Kent Park. I'm Tom Cleary along with John Matlack, and Patrick Clark will be joining us soon. He's down on the field enjoying the action. We hope you are as well. D'Amico's going to take it just inside the letters for ball 1. Jeffrey D'Amico, one of a handful of Whitecaps players who will make the trek down and play instructional ball when the season ends. He's a guy that they'd like to see in a weight program too, John. Big, tall kid, gangly, and then put some pounds on him, increase his bat speed a little bit.
Tom, excuse me for a second. Can we get another shot from third base of Jason Bell? Now take a close look.
I see that he's got Jose Castro's Taylor.
Now let's widen out a little bit again, guys. There you go.
I'm not sure it's that hot here at the ballpark tonight.
Basically. What you were talking about Steve Lyons earlier?
Hey, catcher, I'd ask for combat.
Well, he is a youngster, folks. You know, you get caught up in the emotion of things and you sometimes forget some of the fundamentals.
Well, you know, in the old days of the Perry brothers, there were a lot of different ways to doctor the baseball, but I'd have to say that there's a shot to center field that's going to be playable for Armand Brown, and he puts it away for out number 3. No runs, a hit, no errors, and a man left. After 1 full inning, it's the Wizards 2 and the Whitecaps nothing.
Dan Pfeiffer has to move close to $4 million in 95 new car inventory in 60 days or less. Tracer, Mystique, Sable, Cougar, Villager, Grand Marquis, and Lincolns. Can you imagine a better time to see him for a deal? Dan Pfeiffer's $4 million closeout sale going on now.
We can tell our little brothers and sisters, do as I say, not as I do. But they won't listen. We can tell them not to smoke. But if we smoke, they will smoke. And in their minds, we'll be hypocrites. We can yell at them. We can tell them they're stupid if they smoke. We can tell them it'll make them sick. It'll make them stink. But they will do as we do. If we smoke, they will smoke.
Why are more people choosing American Mobile Living?
We thought the Friendship home had the best quality woodwork and the interior and the floor plan.
American Mobile Living offers a wide selection of spacious floor plans, quality homes featuring professionally designed interiors, an abundance of storage space, handcrafted natural hardwood cabinetry, and prices that are hard to beat. Buy a beautiful 1,040 square foot manufactured home for just $28,900. Now at American Mobile Living in Jenison and in Holland.
Excellent quality.
Welcome back to Old Kent Park, where the Whitecaps trail 2-0 as we head to the top of the second inning. And we've got some good news in the stands, even though the Whitecaps are losing. Excuse me there, folks. We've got a couple here who have decided that the baseball game is the best place to start maybe a new life together. Brian decided to propose to Christy here today. And Brian, what made you decide to do this? Well, first of all, she said yes. What made you decide to do this at a baseball game?
I just figured here in the park, it's a good family atmosphere. It's a good place to start, I thought.
Was there any doubt in your mind? I know you were a little shocked and surprised, Christy. Any doubt in your mind?
I was very shocked, but no doubt.
Pressure on you, you know, because maybe later you might want to change your mind.
No changing now. I waited too long.
Well, baseball's got to be a big part of your life to do that here. Congratulations to both of you. Let's go back upstairs, John and Tom.
Oh, that's very nice. Couple beginning their long life together here at Old Kent Park tonight. This one is fouled back out of play as Fort Wayne comes to bat here in the second inning. It's Adrian Gordon, Scott Hilton, Mike Moriarty, the first three scheduled against Andy Smith. Gordon with a couple of home runs on the year, 18 RBIs.
Tom, we mentioned in our open that if the Whitecaps can average 6,000 or better their last 3 home games, tonight and then next Friday and Saturday, they will top the $500,000 mark. There are only 17 minor league cities that have ever done that. West Michigan would be 18. You have Columbus, Ohio, and Louisville, and Buffalo, and Nashville, Denver, a lot of AA, AAA cities. Years ago, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Seattle, Hollywood did it. Those teams have gone on to become major league cities. So West Michigan would be just the 18th team to reach $500,000 in attendance for one season. Whoa, look out.
I like that action from Andy Smith coming inside and knocking Adrian Gordon back off the plate. The count is now 2-2. 2-0 is our score. The Wizards got a couple on a double by Kelsey Mucker in the first inning. And look out. Swing and a foul tip for strike 3. Rob DeBoer hangs on to it, and Smith now has struck out the last 2 batters he's faced. One gone in the second, and Scott Hilt, the catcher, comes to the plate.
For those of you who may not be aware of it, the college football season got underway this afternoon. Michigan and the University of Virginia meeting in Ann Arbor, and it turned out to be a rather thrilling start. On the very last play of the game, Scott Dreisbach connected with Mercury Hayes, about 14 or 15 yards, throwing a fade into the corner, and the Wolverines beat the Wahoos 18-17 on that pass. So Lloyd Carr's debut as head coach is a positive one, albeit a thrilling one.
Count is even, and Scott Hilt at 1-1 with 1 out. Each team with a hit here in the contest tonight. Castro with a single for the Whitecaps, and the double by Kelsey Mucker in first produced 2 for the Wizards. This one is off the plate, 2-1 now. Scott Hilt has not seen a lot of action this year, playing behind Jose Valentin. Valentin, a real prospect, and this is an opportunity for Hilt to show what he can do tonight.
You talked about Corey Koski earlier as being a guy who's probably not going to see much of the Midwest League beyond the playoff run this year. I'd say that Jose Valentin is another guy like that, definitely destined to get a crack at a higher stop.
Two now. And there you get a good look at Andy Smith. Didn't pitch all that badly. He had 1 bad inning. I believe it was the second inning in the game that he pitched against Burlington this week. And there's a good breaking ball for strike 3. So 3 now in a row. Struck out against the slants of Andy Smith, and now we'll see Mike Moriarty, the shortstop, stepping in for his first at-bat of the night.
Well, we said earlier that Andy Smith seemed to be relying on his off-speed pitch a great deal in the first inning, and it got him in a little bit of trouble until he found the range and found the plate, because he walked a couple of batters who subsequently came around to score. But since then, he seems to be finding the plate not only with his harder stuff, but certainly with his off-speed stuff, and has pitched pretty well since that 2-run double by Kelsey Mucker. There's another one that just curls in very nicely.
Well, Mike Moriarty is the shortstop. I don't imagine there are many ball players on either side, John, that remember the movie Bang the Drum Slowly. Great baseball film with Robert De Niro. And the other co-star of that was the actor Michael Moriarty.
That's right.
And this one's about a 59-footer that DeBoer blocks before it rolls over to the dugout. That one might have snapped Rob a little bit on the hand just below the glove. He's got him right down there on the fat of the hand.
And boy, does that hurt.
2-1 on Mike Moriarty, the shortstop here for Fort Wayne in the second inning. And this one is a breaking ball, and it's a beauty. The curveball is really starting to work now for Andy Smith.
Crash, who is about to crash on the Whitecaps dugout.
On the ground to D'Amico. Almost overran that ball and makes the strong throw across to Miranda for out number 3. 1-2-3 inning. Randy Smith and the Whitecaps. Nothing across. We go to the bottom of the second. It's Fort Wayne 2. West Michigan Whitecaps nothing on TV 13.
Excuse me. Hi, I'm making this big announcement because the Biggie Ford's factory authorized clearance is here. It's your chance to get incredible clearance savings on thousands of new Fords, plus special cashback offers up to $2,500. That could mean no money down. It's the Biggie, and it's now at your Ford dealer. Now my impression of the ruby-crested warbler.
When it comes to family fun, there's no place like home.
With the Whitecaps, there's always a way to win. In the Shirts Off Our Backs contest, you could win tickets to a game or a Whitecaps autographed jersey. All courtesy of Plank Road Brewery. Register soon at participating Walgreens stores. Look for the Red Dog display.
When I got my Saturn, I noticed Dr. Cuervo also had one. I asked her why she got hers, and she said, well, it just made sense. And then I noticed Dr. Kwiatkowski had one. Turns out her sister recommended it. Then I saw Dr. Wong had one. And I said, come on, how many doctors are driving these things?
You've got 4 opinions right here.
Why did I buy the car? I was attracted to its safety features. Ask your doctor.
All right, we're back at Old Camp Park getting set for the bottom of the second inning. The Whitecaps find themselves trailing the Fort Wayne Wizards by the score of 2-0. Stepping in for the Whitecaps, Alex Miranda, Rob DeBoer, and Jose Soriano are the first 3 scheduled. And here's the between-inning entertainment atop the Whitecaps dugout. Well, our new general manager is at the game tonight. I didn't... You'll notice I'm not adding. The swing and a miss for Alex Miranda, strike 1. Jason Bell, his second inning of work for the Wizards. Both teams with a hit, but the big one was the double by Kelsey Mucker that scored 2 in the top of the first inning. Miranda, another guy whose average has begun to pick up a little bit of late. 235 on the season. He is now up to 8 home runs, and of the players on the roster, he is the leader in that department. No Whitecap player with the double figures in home runs. 59 RBIs for Alex Miranda. This one is fouled down the first base line into the Whitecaps bullpen. It's Leon Hamburg down there in the bullpen watching the game tonight with the pitchers. One and 2 on Alex Miranda. They said he checked his swing. I'd like to see that one again, John. I don't know if we have it on replay or not, but yeah, I thought he went around on that one, and I think the umpire at home plate thought so. He immediately asked for help, but the base umpire on a left-handed hitter didn't have a very good view of it. And that may have been enough to give Alex Miranda one more life here in this at-bat. 2-2 pitch coming up, but it's hit on the ground to first. Big hop for Thornton. He'll take it by himself, and he'll get there a couple of steps ahead of Alex Miranda for out number 1.
You know, it's certainly not the Oakland A's primary concern to put an entertaining or hitting or pitching or whatever team at the Class A level, because these guys are at very close to the earliest level of their professional life, and the A's just want to see how they do. But through 2 seasons now, we really haven't had anybody that you would say has put offensive numbers, has been a hitter, has been a long ball threat with any regularity. George Williams comes to mind, and he was here for the rehab second half of the season last year. It would be fun for Whitecaps fans, and I think for the Whitecaps in general, to have somebody who could really stick the ball around the yard a little bit. Ben Grieve had the potential, but with nobody protecting him, he never saw the kinds of pitches that he'll see at higher levels.
And you could say that as far as his career in Grand Rapids was concerned, Ben Grieve died because of other people's sins. They could not provide him with any coverage in the lineup, and consequently teams threw him a lot of off-speed pitches, a lot of junk. They didn't care if they walked him so much. And the Oakland organization became concerned with his development. They felt that they had to get him into a situation where he was going to see a few more balls and play with players that were a little bit more developed than the crew that we've seen here in Grand Rapids this year. So they moved him to Modesto, and the results were predictable. Reed has hit the ball very well.
I think he's hitting, what, 315, 319, something like that.
He has certainly responded to the challenge of playing at the next level up. Swing and a miss by Rob DeBoer. The count goes to 1-2. Well, you look around the league, we have seen some teams that have had a lot of hitting. This Fort Wayne team has pretty good hitting, but we've seen other clubs that have had just as much or more. 2-2 now on Rob DeBoer.
And, you know, the Oakland A's are one of the organizations that talked about making a commitment to young pitchers years ago, so maybe they are a team and an organization that will be pitching heavy for a while. But I don't know that the A's necessarily, excuse me, have more of a commitment to young pitchers than, say, any other major league organization. Although the A's, with some of their drafts, went pitching heavy in terms of selecting players. But Ben Grieve is a high draft choice. He's obviously not a pitcher, so I don't know. It may just be cyclical. And who knows? The next few years we could have teams here at Old Kent Park that average 6 or 7 runs and give up 6 or 7 runs. So it's really hard to say at this level.
Well, Oakland is going to put its players where they will be best served. But by the same token, I think Oakland enjoys its affiliation here with Grand Rapids. That's no understatement to say that. It's inside the ball 4 to Rob DeBoer. And I believe that itself might be good enough to get the Whitecaps in the future, maybe a player or two more than a team in the Midwest League might normally get in terms of prospects. And I think it's one of the reasons why Ben Grieve was here this year.
Yeah, and I think it's one of the reasons that Devon Smith is supposed to show up one of these days. He's supposed to be here tonight. If you missed our open, he's the young man who led the Midwest League and statistically still is with a 341 average, although he has been moved up to the higher Class A level in California, playing in Lake Elsinore. That's that Mike Aldretti trade between the A's and the Angels. He's supposed to be here tonight. Didn't quite make his flight by accident or by intent. And so the latest word is that he could get here late tonight and should be available for the doubleheader tomorrow. There's a guy that the A's could leave at Modesto, but rather they're sending him down here. Is it a tip of the cap to the attendance and the playoff rush? Who knows?
Jose Soriano fouls this one back into the crowd. The count goes to 1-1. Nice catch here by the guy with the black shirt.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think he knocked anybody's beverage over either while doing so.
So he's giving it to his youngster seated next to him. Terrific, Grant.
And the kid is more interested in the food, wouldn't you know it?
That sounds rather familiar.
I suppose you have to catch a bat these days if you're a dad to impress your child. 1-1 count with 1 out. DeBoer getting a pretty good lead at first. Whitecaps trail 2-0 here in the second inning. DeBoer's going. He's got a pretty good lead, and Soriano spoils the pitch. And fouls it back over the Whitecaps dugout.
Well, his fullback days at South Carolina notwithstanding, Rob DeBoer is not much of a threat to run, although he has stolen 10 bases on the year. But that was a plain and simple hit and run. Because you saw Soriano reach out and try to tap that into the hole with the second baseman covering and instead sent it foul.
Jose Soriano is a very difficult hitter to figure out. His batting average languishing at .217 on the year. He has played in 114 ball games. He's been active, but seems to run in streaks, kind of hot and cold. He'll get hot for a week or so, and then he'll really get cold. He had a terrible spell just fairly recently, John. Like 25 or 30 at-bats where he only had 1 hit, something of that order.
And I think a lot of the Whitecaps have gone through spurts like that. They'll be hot for a short period of time, but as their batting averages would indicate, not a very long period of time. So Jim Colborn is in a situation where he's got to manufacture runs, and you hit and run, and you steal bases. You take advantage of what you have, speed. There goes DeBoer again.
Strikeout and a safe at second base. DeBoer in under the tag. Soriano goes down and strikes. Boy, I thought Hilt had him there at second. But DeBoer got in just under the tag, so says Jeff Spadowski, and so the Whitecaps have a man in scoring position once again. Well, let's see if the umpire is right. We should get a pretty good view of it here.
I thought he got in behind the tag.
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either.
I think that was a strikeout throwout, but the Whitecaps catch a break, and the big man, Eric Harris, steps in. He had a dramatic 2-run homer the other night to beat Burlington in extra innings. The Whitecaps won that one, I believe, in 12. They had fallen behind 6-5 in the top of the 12th inning.
I think it was 11. 7, 6, 11. I believe that's what it was.
And then Harris came up and hit a 2-run homer to give the Whitecaps the win around midnight.
Now here's another perfect example of what we're talking about. You see his 7 home runs, 28 RBIs. Those aren't bad given how many games he's been involved with, but look at his batting average. When you're hitting 174, you can't contribute to the team every 6 or 7 games and in between be a liability, which is why as a designated hitter he's batting 8th. He's got the potential, he's got the long ball strength, but he's just not able to mount that consistent average like most of the other Whitecaps.
Well, Jim Colborn says this guy has a tremendous work ethic. He says he has worked very hard, really scrapped all season long. He just hasn't been able to find it. He's a big guy with power, so the organization's willing to go with him a ways, but eventually there will come a time when we'll have to put some numbers up on the board. 2 gone here. At a slow pace tonight at Old Kent Park. We're in the bottom of the second on TV 13. Whitecaps trail 2-0. Wizards got a couple against Andy Smith in the first, and that's where it's at right now. Each team with a hit. Whitecaps are yet to get on the board. Harris fouls another one off. Patrick Clark joins us now.
Thanks, Tom. I'm out here on the Universal Forest Products deck. I'm here with Bruce Radley, the busiest man in the ballpark, as has been all season long. Bruce, are we getting close to another record crowd here tonight?
Yes, we are. We are closing in on yet another record crowd. We just set one about 2 nights ago, and we're going to exceed that by about 30 people tonight.
That's getting old hat, that story. The exciting story is the one about the attendance record. A year ago, you set the single-A Class A all-time attendance record, and you did it again this year.
Yes, we did, and we did it in record fashion, and we're closing in on another goal, which we didn't start out to set, but we'll happily accept it. 500,000 people, which is the first time that's ever happened in Class A baseball.
Well, thanks, Bruce. Let's go back upstairs to John and Tom.
Okay, Patrick, we saw Rob DeBoer scurry into third base after that ball bounced up to the plate. And DeBoer never hesitated. That was the key, John. This one didn't get too far past Scott Hilt. He was on the go from the start. Here's a little looper in the center field. In there for a base hit. And the Whitecaps are on the board. Eric Harris, who thought he had some bad luck this year, gets a little bit of good fortune as he loops him over the head of Mike Moriarty. It looked as though that ball might hang up enough for Moriarty to make the catch, but it got just over his glove, and DeBoer trots in from third with the first run of the night for the home side.
Well, just in terms of housekeeping, they rule a wild pitch on the earlier pitch that got DeBoer to third, and then Harris with that soft parachute just beyond the diving Mike Moriarty. And so that gets the Whitecaps on the board and cuts their deficit to 2-1. Harris with the leadoff first. Take a look at how close Moriarty came.
Just over his glove.
Yeah, a couple of inches.
There's Freddie Soriano, who turns on this one and drives it way out of here. Foul by about 15 feet, but that time Jason Bell tried to bust Freddie inside, thinking that he likes to go the opposite way. Freddie was guessing inside, and he just roped one right out of the ballpark. It was foul all the way, and it's just a long strike one for the shortstop for the Caps. Good bit of strategy there by Freddie. He knows that teams want to jam him because he wants to go the other way, but he got around on that one. There's where they want to keep it, on the outside portion of the plate. Strike 2.
Harris was running on that play too, Tom. Looked like another hit and run or a run and hit.
Well, Whitecaps had a bit of a reputation earlier this season, John, as a running team. For the first couple of weeks when they got off to that fine start, they were doing it largely at the expense of other teams catching. But then teams got wise to what the Whitecaps were doing, and then, quite frankly, the Whitecaps stopped getting people on base with as much regularity. That's where it dried up the running game effectively.
But they still lead the Midwest League in stolen bases. They have 209 as a team, and I think that's well in front of their nearest competitor. Let me just double check here real quick. They've got 209. Quad City has 192 and Cedar Rapids 191, so they're a good 17 in front of their nearest competitor. And let's be honest, it's the only offensive weapon they've been able to yield with any regularity all season.
And the Whitecaps are just a couple of games under the 500 mark right now, but it's really a testimony to Jim Colborn and Burt Bradley and Rich Juday. I mean, you take a team that's with a team ERA of over 4 and they're 13th in the league in hitting. It'll tap her back to the mound, will end the second, and All things considered, the record is not all that bad in Grand Rapids. The Whitecaps come back. They score a run on a hit. A man left after 2. It's Fort Wayne 2 and the Whitecaps 1.
It's year and clearance time at Boardman Ford, and that means it's time for the 95s to go. We've got the deals you just can't believe. With rebates up to $2,500, brand new 95 Tauruses as low as $14,995. New Escorts loaded with air, stereo, and more, just $10,995. F-Series trucks, over 80 in stock, all starting at $199 per month. Everything must be sold because the 96s are already rolling in. So come and save at Boardman Ford, the home of the Redcoats, on 28th at Ivan Rest in Grand Rapids.
No, this birthday doesn't bother me.
Your mother was how old when she had cancer? So let's do something. There's that Betty Ford Cancer Center at Blodgett.
I've been thinking about it.
We should do more than just think about it.
Okay, I'll call. If it'll make you feel better.
Hey, baseball fans, come out to Tailored Building Systems. Your triple play specialist in pre-engineered steel, post-frame, and conventional construction. Tailored's design team scores a home run every time. And their prices are never out of the ballpark. See the Tailored team to evaluate your building needs or call them to make a short stop at your location. Tailored Building Systems. If yours is not a tailored building, it's not a custom fit.
There you see the numbers at Old Kent Park. Fort Wayne with 2 in the first, West Michigan with 1 in the second. 2-1 Wizards lead. You saw that commercial with a Little League baseball perched in the glove. The finals of the Little League World Series this afternoon on TV 13 from Williamsport, Pennsylvania. And Taiwan does it again, beating Texas 17-3 in a game that mercifully was shortened to 4 innings by the mercy rule. And I think it's something like 16 out of the last 20 years. The team from Taiwan has won Little League World Series.
New format change, kind of a round-robin format this year used for the Little League World Series. And oddly enough, once the team from Texas had secured a spot in the American final, John, they had to play one more game against a team that was winless, and they lost to that team.
And they played a lot of their backup players, yeah, because it didn't matter. I liked the format change a couple of years ago when they went to the International Division versus the American Division. But I don't know about this round-robin stuff for little kids.
This is Armand Brown, who launches one a mile high on the infield. Jeffrey DeVico is coming in. He's going to put it away. Score out number 1 here in the top of the 3rd inning. So suddenly Andy Smith has settled down, and he has not given up a loud foul to the last 5 hitters he's faced. After the double that scored 2 off the bat of Mucker in the first, he's had 3 strikeouts, a ground out, and a pop to 3rd.
Well, let's be honest, Tom, that's the only error or the only hard hit ball against him all night. He got in trouble by walking 2 in the first, and then Mucker cashed him in with that double. Nobody else has really hit the ball hard at all, so Smith can kick himself in the backside for the wildness in the first inning. Otherwise, he's on a 1-0 lead, and he's mowing him down. But you can't unring the proverbial bell, so you have to go from there and not let anything get worse.
This is Israel Paez, the second baseman now for the Fort Wayne Wizards, stepping in. Paez grounded to Castro at second in his first attack. 1-0 the count. 2 in the first for Fort Wayne, a run in the second for the Caps, and that's where we're at right now here in the top of the 3rd inning. 2-1 in favor of the visitors. Andy Smith locked in a pitcher's duel right now with Jason Bell.
Well, you heard Bruce Radley talking about maybe 30 over the record. That's going to put this crowd, if it cashes in that way, at about 8,700. This is our first broadcast, obviously, since the expansion plans were announced a while back. You look around, I know when I came up here earlier, I was looking around. One of the things I was doing was trying to picture the pavilion in right center field and the extended stands down the right and left field baseline.
That's a weak swing by Paez for strike 2. I think we'll have more, we have kind of a ballpark now, you might say, John. We'll have a real stadium look eventually.
Yeah, as it continues to surround. And I don't know that they'll ever surround it completely. I don't know that they want to surround it completely. But the deck addition this year in the pavilion, which will extend towards center field from that, will start boxing it in with them.
2-2 pitch. Ooh. awfully good. Batter held up. Out the door, asked for some help from the base umpire. Raskin waved it off, so it's a full count now on Paez.
There you see a look at the crowd here, and again, a little over 18,000 in their last 3 home dates will give the Whitecaps the $500,000 figure. Next Friday and Saturday, their last 2 regular season home dates.
That is strikeout number 4 for Andy Smith as he blows away Paez for out number 2 here in the 3rd inning. I guess how you can, the only way you can defend against the Whitecaps in terms of attendance is through Mother Nature. They lose a date, which is possible. They might not eclipse the 500,000 mark, but as of right now, if the weather holds, and there's no reason to believe it won't, the Whitecaps are going to be over $500,000 and dangerously close to $1 million for their first 2 years.
Which is absolutely remarkable.
Contrast that with the Detroit Tigers, who last year in the American League had the highest payroll in the league, finished in last place, and also finished last in American League attendance.
And that's a bad combination to have when you're in the business of putting people in seats.
And there's a rip down the right field line with the base hit for Troy Kowski. We talked about this young man. Fine ball player and a great hitter. And he is on to the 2-out single. Only the second hit given up by Andy Smith, and that'll bring up Troy Horton. Inside fastball, boy, he went down and got it. It was down at the knees or lower, and it was not exactly a hitter's pitch, but Kowski found it to his liking, and he is on now for the first time tonight. Troy Horton walked, scored a run in his first at bat. Breaking ball hands up high. And when Andy Smith did not retire Troy Horton with 2 out in the first inning, John, it was the beginning of some real big trouble for him because the next man, a left-hander, Kelsey Mucker, took him up against the wall for a 2-run double. That one's even now, 1-1.
The air here at Old Kent Park seems to have really grown still. The flag out in center field is almost limp as it's wrapped around the flagpole. So if anybody's going to hit one out here tonight, the humidity is good enough to get the ball going, but it's not going to be a wind-assisted. There you see. It's not going to be a wind-assisted shot, that's for sure.
I would think the left field, it's not very likely. Right field, probably a much better chance. Stunt by Roger Bourne, that last delivery. Keep it from going back to the screen. Kowski's not going. A weak swing and a breaking pitch for strike 2 on Troy Horton. 2 gone. Here in the top of the 3rd inning, it's 2-1 Wizards leading the Whitecaps. Glad you're with us tonight on TV 13 for our next to last regular season telecast. We'll be back here next Friday again from Old Kent Park. We hope you join us for that day.
And then who knows what may happen. Playoff possibilities. Well, these 2 pitchers setting new baseball standards for deliberate work.
They played almost an hour and just about an hour. And there goes Kowski. Had a great jump at the grounder to short. Soriano's going to have plenty of time to get Horton. Post number 3. Wendy Smith completely fell asleep with the base runner. But he gets the hitter at the plate, and Fort Wayne is retired after 2.5. It's 2-1 Wizards.
Dan Pfeiffer has to move close to $4 million in 95 new car inventory in 60 days or less. Tracer, Mystique, Sable, Cougar, Villager, Grand Marquis, and Lincolns. Can you imagine a better time to see him for a deal? Dan Pfeiffer's $4 million closeout sale going on now.
Son, make sure you get this exact part, but don't go to Cheap Auto Parts. I need it this week. And don't go to the Zippy Boys. I haven't been to the bank today.
Where do you want me to go?
Try Auto Value Parts Stores. With the buying power of 1,600 stores and large inventory, you'll get the parts you want when you want them at low prices every day, only at Auto Value.
Listen to your mother. Go to Auto Value.
Auto Value, the parts you want, the value you expect.
What a sandwich!
Taco Bell introduces the Texas Taco Sandwich. Oven-baked flatbread with chicken or beef and a tangy southwestern sauce. Starting at 99 cents. It tastes so big, it ought to be outlawed. Yummy.
We're back at Old Kent Park. I'm Tom Cleary along with John Matlack and Patrick Clark. Well, if you're Crash the River Rascal, you got to try something new after what? 110 consecutive defeats during the mascot dash. Crash goes automated here. And he's in pretty good shape. Now he tries to take out Mike Moriarty and drifts off into left field. And our two combatants here tonight just keep on.
Well, watch the young lady here. Get out of my way. Two-handed as it gets back, but he sprints in to win it. Crash, meanwhile, is still pulling the jalopy.
A young lady, obviously a rule tip page on, realizing that if she crosses the runner in front of her, that neither of their runs will count. Crash will win by forfeit. Can't have that happen. Here is Jose Castro. Castro got aboard for the first inning, maybe as far as third, but hasn't been able to cross the plate. Bit of a delay here. This one does not have anything to do with Crash. Jason Bell gets a little comebacker off the bat of Castro, and Jose will be an easy out number one to start the third inning.
Well, so far this has been a story of pitchers dominating in terms of the pace of the game, in terms of the output of the game. Only 4 hits total, 2 by each team. We're at the bottom of the third. A couple of walks causing problems for Andy Smith and the Whitecaps. Understand we're having some audio problems from Old Kent Park, and we are working to get that corrected. So pitchers TV set too hard.
And this is David Newhand taking a curveball on the inside corner at the knees for strike one. Newhand bounced out to second in his first at bat. And there's a 2 of 6 now. Squares as if to offer, but pulls the bat back, and that count goes even at 1-1.
Well, he woke Corey Kosky up down to third base. Kosky was about even with the bag to begin with. And as soon as Newhand shortened up, Kosky was sprinting in. Still playing by the shallow.
Another breaking ball, and it's a dandy from Jason Bell. The count goes to 1-2 with Emil Brown hitting on deck for the Whitecaps. One gone here, bottom of the third. 2 runs, 2 hits, no errors for Fort Wayne. 1 run, 2 hits, no errors for the Whitecaps.
Jason Bell has looked rather impressive, even given his slow working tempo. He's just 20 years old. This is his first year of professional ball. Hasn't necessarily dazzled anybody. Has held the Whitecaps to their 2 hits for 1 run.
Young man who comes from Orlando, Florida. And he strikes out David Newhand for out number 2. Third strikeout for Bell. One of his earlier victims, Emil Brown, steps in now with 2 gone in the third. Brown had a critical strikeout back in the first inning.
will start at the end of the season, I would imagine. Pending President Johnson's approval, head breakdown early October. At the beginning of the season, was 500,000 a realistic mark for you guys, or did it disappear as you saw the sellout in Iowa? It's very possible. Good weather, so we're real excited about that. The weather's the one factor in the game. Getting close to 1 million fans in just 2 years as the president has been great job. Guys, let's go back to Sarah. All right, thank you, Patrick. After 3 innings of action here tonight, it's Fort Wayne leading the score 2-1.
Between inning activities here at Old Kent Park. Mucker has the big hit in this particular game tonight. Back in the first inning, he had a 2-out double, laced it to right field, scoring Troy Fortman and Armand Brown, both of whom had walked before him, and staking the Wizards to a 2-0 lead. The Whitecaps have since trimmed that to 2-1 as we move into the 4th inning here. On a beautiful night, a little bit of haze still in the air, but not an altogether uncomfortable evening. Feels like a baseball kind of evening. Didn't feel much like a football kind of afternoon in the heat and the humidity in Ann Arbor today, but the Wolverines will take it. The 18-17 win. High school football season starting very soon as Mucker has the big uppercut swing and comes up empty for strike one. 1 ball, 1 strike. Mucker, Shane Gunderson, and Adrian Gordon scheduled to face Andy Smith here in the top of the 4th. Sends that one in a little bit below the knees. 2 balls and a strike. We talked earlier about the wild card playoff position. Kane County and the Whitecaps are in as of tonight. Of course, the playoffs don't start tonight. Mucker, another big cut. 4 strike 2. If the season were to end tonight, the Whitecaps and Kane County would be in, but South Bend and Springfield are right behind. And with a bunch of games left, you see the Whitecaps dugout with a bunch of games left, a couple of doubleheaders for the Whitecaps. A little bit presumptuous to jump on the playoff bandwagon just yet. Andy Smith just misses there, and so the count goes full to the leadoff batter in the 4th. The 3-2 offering to Kelsey Mucker. Big swing comes up absolutely empty on 3 swinging tries for out number 1. 4th strikeout of the night for Andy Smith, and that brings up left fielder Shane Gunderson. Gunderson wrapped up the Wizards' first inning by becoming Andy Smith's first strikeout victim. Fort Wayne 2 and the Whitecaps 1 here in the 4th inning. We're on the air again next Friday night, the next to the last regularly scheduled or regular season game for the Whitecaps. As we said earlier, playoffs may change or adjust our broadcast schedule, but we'll just wait and see like everybody else. Whitecaps will go on the road to Fort Wayne for a doubleheader tomorrow, single game Monday, and then a batch with South Bend next week. 3 down there, and then the last 2 back here. And both of those games may very well go a long way toward determining that playoff position. 1 ball, 1 strike to Shane Gunderson. And Smith rocks and 5. And that is straight up behind home plate. Rob DeBoer hoping to have room, loses the mask, stays with it for out number 2. Towering foul ball behind the home plate. And Rob DeBoer, as he is taught to do, waited until he tracked the ball and then threw the mask away from the play area and then tracked it down for out number 2. That will bring up the designated hitter, Adrian Gordon. Gordon struck out to lead off the Wizards' 2nd inning. Curveball catches the corner for strike 1. That's just a little bit too far inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Youngster enjoying some end-of-summer refreshments. Soon it'll be cider and donut. 2 balls and a strike to Adrian Gordon. So far, this one has been dominated by the 2 starting pitchers. That's inside. 3 balls and a strike. 2 outs, nobody on here, top of the 4th. Fort Wayne leading the Whitecaps 2-1. Some of the record crowd here saying hello. 3-1 pitch. Low and outside, ball 4. That's the 3rd walk served up by Andy Smith. The first 2 came back to haunt him in the first inning on Kelsey Munker's double. Catcher Scott Hilt will take a moment to stride to the plate. He had his shin guards on, has to unlace those. Hilt also struck out back in the 2nd. So he is 0 for 1 on the night. Batting 143 on the season, as Tom indicated earlier. He hasn't played all that much because they have arguably the best catcher in the Midwest League in Jose Valentin. Valentin batting .310 on the year. He's got 18 home runs. He's got 59 RBIs. He's getting a night off tonight. Gordon with a decent lead off first, and he's wiggling around a little bit to make sure Andy Smith notices, and he does. Gordon has stolen 13 bases this year out of 20 tries, so he is a threat, especially with 2 outs. That is roped into deep center field. However, Jose Soriano gets back and grabs it with no trouble at all, so the walk does not hurt the Whitecaps here in the 4th. We go to the bottom of the 4th. Fort Wayne still leading our Whitecaps 2-1.
Now, at your 4 Grand Rapids Ford dealers, there's Contour. Just $199 a month at your 4 Grand Rapids Ford dealers. Stetler, Borgman, Tony Benton, and Keller.
When it comes to family fun, there's no place like home.
This summer, don't miss the Whitecaps souvenir cups, courtesy of Subway. Get a new cup each month at any West Michigan Subway, or receive a limited edition cup by being among the first 1,500 fans to enter specially designated Whitecaps games.
You're looking for a new suit? Well, this is the place to be. Rogers Men's Suit Department, featuring the largest selection of men's suits and sport coats in West Michigan. You'll appreciate the quality name brands. Choose from names like Hickey Freeman, Hart Schaffner and Marks, Palm Beach, Austin Reed, Tommy Hilfiger, and many others. Rogers' expert tailoring department assures you a perfect fit. Rogers Men's Suit Department. There is no other store quite like it anywhere in Michigan.
Hi there. Hi. Can I help you?
Yeah, I'd like to.
There you see the numbers from Old Kent Park. We're moving to the bottom of the 4th, and Tom, I understand that more than a few viewers have called the station and Old Kent Park wondering about the audio problems. We are working to correct that, but people are listening and are a little bit concerned about it.
Well, thankfully, the pictures, I should say, and the pitchers, for that matter, are still looking pretty good, and we expect to have our problems taken care of shortly. The Whitecaps looking for some offense against a young guy who's done a pretty good job. He has lived up to his advanced billing. Jason Bell came in with a very impressive earned run average and record, for that matter, entering the ball game tonight. The Whitecaps have only gotten to him for 1 run so far, but it's the meat of the batting order coming up for the Whitecaps here in the 4th inning. D'Amico, Miranda, and DeBoer, the first 3 scheduled, and there are some of the folks that are on the lawn down the left field line.
And I am told that we have pushed some buttons, pulled some plugs, and fixed the audio problem, so let us apologize once again for disturbing you with imperfect audio, and hope that we've got it corrected for the rest of the night. I tell you that we're glad you're joining us here tonight. Whitecaps and Wizards meeting at probably a little more necessary game as far as the Whitecaps are concerned, because the Wizards
I don't know that they've clinched the playoff spot, but they're in better shape than the Whitecaps are. D'Amico flew out to center field to end the Whitecaps first, and he looks at that one outside, ball one. One ball, one strike. D'Amico 0 for 1 on that fly ball to center field. Not really able to get into any sort of an offensive groove all season. Happy that he stayed healthy as opposed to last year when he blew out his knee after 9 games, but has not been able to get the stick working and didn't get it working that time. Big swing and a miss at a high outside offering. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Get the playoff picture there. There'll be a test tomorrow, I believe.
We'll talk about this in just a couple of moments. Tell you some of the teams that we will be seeing in postseason, one of which, for sure, is the Michigan Battle Cats.
That's right, because they won the Eastern Division in the first half. 1-2 pitch, similar location. This time, D'Amico laid off at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Two pitch, big swing, and nothing for Jeffrey D'Amico. He strikes out to start off the Whitecaps' 4th inning.
That was a good tight slider there from Jason Bell. Well, here's the situation right now in the Midwest League. Beloit, Michigan, and Quad City are all in by virtue of their first half divisional titles. Rockford, Cedar Rapids, and Fort Wayne are teams that, if the season were to end tonight, would win divisional titles in the second half. The wild card team, which happens to be a team not previously mentioned, or I should say the wild card teams, at this moment are Kane County and West Michigan. They are currently tied with one another in terms of games back. Kane County has actually played 4 more games than the Whitecaps right now, and that's why the Whitecaps have the backlog of doubleheaders to work through this week. But also, South Bend is just a game out of the playoff picture for a wild card spot. Springfield, the team that will be playing in Lansing next year, is a game and a half out. Wisconsin, the Timber Rattlers, 2.5 back, and Peoria also 2.5 back. So any of those 4 teams could certainly qualify if they get hot here and go on a little bit of a run. The Whitecaps can take care of business themselves, though, and they'd certainly like to do that during the next 7 or 8 days.
Alex Miranda with 1 balls and 2 strikes on the scoreboard against him. He swings and misses. He is a strikeout victim. So 2 up and 2 down by virtue of the strikeout path.
And we want to remind you not to forget about the 13-run rule. Whitecaps score 13 or more runs in a home game, you could win a 13-inch color television set. All you have to do is send us a postcard and send it to TV 13's 13-run rule, Box Z, Grand Rapids, from A1 Heating and Air Conditioning in Muir in Greenville, your Amana Heating and Cooling dealer, also from the fine folks at TV 13.
Boy, I'll tell you, the way the Whitecaps have hit the last couple of years, that's one of the safest contests going as far as the sponsors are concerned.
I think we did have a telecast earlier this year, though, and the Whitecaps hit 12, and they had a man at third with 1 out in the last inning.
Was that wild one we had down at Fort Wayne?
I think it was a ball game here, if I'm not mistaken.
Maybe it was. Well, there's no balls, 2 strikes to Rob DeBoer. The Whitecaps are going up flailing in the 4th inning. Problem is they are flailing and not making any contact.
I'm going to go back, John, excuse me, and look at the book here and see if I can
track that down. D'Amico and Miranda have already struck out here in the 4th inning with 2 outs. Rob DeBoer is in an 0-2 hole. And young Jason Bell seems to be ringing a tune of his team's liking because he's very much in a groove right now. Leading 2-1. We're just in the 4th inning. That's on the outside corner. 3 strikeouts for Jason Bell. He's doing just great, thank you. And at the end of 4, his Wizards are leading the Whitecaps 2-1. We're coming back to Old Kent Park in just a moment on TV 13.
Hi. Sorry to wake you, but just a reminder that Ford's factory-authorized clearance, the Biggie, won't last forever. If you're interested in a Ford, could you just flash your lights? Good, because right now a huge selection of 95 Fords are at each dealer's lowest clearance prices. You'll get big savings on F-Series and Rangers and more. It's the Biggie at your Ford dealer, so we'll see you bright and early. And now, lullaby and good night and dream about a new Ford.
The batter steps to the plate. He looks for the sign. Oh, that's a good one. Here's the windup. And the pitch. What a hit. It's going. It's a Grand Slam savings event. Come to Ronda Tire now, your West Michigan headquarters for all Kelly tires, and save with big league bargains on Kelly tires. It's a Grand Slam savings at Ronda Tire, so don't miss it. Catch a good deal on a great tire today.
All across America, Haircuts Plus is being featured alongside many of today's leading hair designers. Today, Haircuts Plus is 14 salons strong, serving thousands of people just like you, searching for talented stylists who understand that fashion only works when it fits your style and is priced with value in mind. Whether you're looking for beautiful color, natural-looking firms, or just a great new cut, looking great shouldn't require a line of credit. At Haircuts Plus, it won't.
Still a pitcher's battle as we join the 8,700 or so fans here watching the Wizards lead it 2-1. The fans paying rapt attention to the conclusion of the horse race out in right center field. PA announcer Jay Allen. 2-point action.
Going back to the book, John, that game that I was talking about before when the Whitecaps had a dozen here during our telecast, it was I think it was a game back in May when the Whitecaps beat the Quad City River Bandits about 12-0. They were tough in the middle innings. Whitecaps at 6 in the 5th that night. Scored 2 in the very first inning, jumped out to the early lead, and just pummeled the River Bandits that evening, but we have not yet given away a television set. Denton Home's going to look a lot emptier.
Well, not much of a chance the way the Whitecaps have been hitting this year. They're down 2-1 here as we move to the 5th. Andy Smith, after that first inning in which he gave up 2 runs, has settled down very nicely. He's still working. He will face Mike Moriarty, Armand Brown, and Israel Paez. Moriarty lifts one softly to right field, and Neil Brown camps under it and gloves it for out number 1. Turn your score sheet over to the top of the order now. Armand Brown started this game out for the Wizards with a walk. Later scored on Mucker's double. He is 0 for 1 officially with that walk. Batting .227. It's his updated numbers. Big swing and miss for strike number 1. You know, we haven't televised the game since June 20th, I think, about 9 weeks or so. Talk about how things have evolved and changed as Brown singles up the middle for hit number 3 for the Wizards. But things have changed rather drastically for the Tigers in that time as well. The personnel changes absolutely of the wholesale nature. There you see the replay, and he just slaps it up the middle. Brown with a good bit of hitting. But a lot of conjecture and a lot of wondering about the future of Alan Trammell, the future of Lou Whitaker, both of whom have at least hinted upon about retiring next year. I guess Sparky Anderson is the subject of most conjecture and most debate right now, whether he wants to be back, whether the Tigers want him back next year. Oh, they got it. They got it. You bet. Armand Brown was leaning a little bit, and Smith put it right where it had to be. Miranda had an easy one, just dropped the glove and waved goodbye.
He doesn't really get himself set, John. He gets that back foot down. The fatal move forward, and he is a goner. All I can hope for now is a bad throw. It's perfect and a great call. Nice tag by Alex Miranda. Good bit of work by the boys in the shirt.
Absolutely.
Now, you're talking about the Tigers, John. One thing that may extend the career of both Alan Trammell and Lou Whitaker is the retirement of Kirk Gibson. The Tigers have talked about the fact now, at least a little bit, that Whitaker could be the left-handed designated hitter for the Tigers next year. And Trammell could still play as well, and I think it'd be an ideal situation for the Tigers. Those guys are not going to command the huge bucks that they once commanded. You could probably get them both for $1 million or so for next year. And still field a representative team, perhaps, as part of the deal.
Well, you see Andy Smith taking care of business, retiring Israel Paez on a comebacker. So we go to the bottom of the 5th, and Fort Wayne is still leading 2-1 as the lights are taking effect. And Mother Nature is not at Old Kent Park. And this is some different entertainment down at the third base coaching box. The Jerry Lewis, Elvis Presley hybrid that we saw earlier. Myron is his name, you tell me? Myron. It is Myron. Let's go down to Myron right now with his rendition of Dueling Banjo.
Well, the best thing about that is now that we've all seen it, we can skip the staff meeting at TV 13 Monday now. Been there, done that.
Leading off the bottom of the fifth, Jose Soriano trying to get some offense going for the guys in white. Skip still talking to the dugout over there. They gave him a standing ovation. He may hear about that a few more times, but you got to admit, he did a very fine job. Check swing, did he go around? We're going to get an appeal. They going to ring him up? No. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I'm not sure the scoreboard operator got that one right.
Jose Soriano struck out back in the second. Excuse me, Tom. I didn't see the first base umpire gesture when they looked at him. Well, I guess that answers all of our questions.
Strike 2, you're out, Jose.
Okay, Jose, you take a seat. That is 4 consecutive strikeouts and 5 out of the last 6 batters for Jason Bell. So we can see how this youngster has compiled a 1.42 earned run average. He's blowing people away, and he's not doing it with smoke. He's really mixed his pitches very well and has had a lot of people look very awkward up there.
Well, he struck out 7 through 4 1/3, so the young man's on his game tonight.
Brings up Eric Harris, who has the lone RBI, and he's not going to get another RBI looking like that. Harris, back in the second inning, softly popped one into center field just past the diving Mike Moriarty, the shortstop. And that scored Rob DeBoer, who had walked and stolen second, taken third on a wild pitch. That's outside, but just barely. 1 ball, 1 strike. Now, Jason Bell really mixing up the off-speed stuff, the hard stuff, the location. Seemingly in his groove right now, in complete command of most of his pitches. 1 ball, 1 strike. The big cat Harris bounces that softly down to third. Corey Koski as the country club hop the easy throw across for out number 2. And let's go down to Patrick Clark.
All right, thanks, guys. Interesting note about the first base coach, the assistant, Rich Jude, who we all know was an All-American at Michigan State. Tom Smith, their longtime coach, who's been with the program as head coach for 11 years and been with Michigan State Spartans since the 60s, recently resigned, in fact, just this week. And we talked with Rich Jude earlier in the game, and he said that he is applying for that job and feels like he has a real good shot at maybe being the head coach at Michigan State, depending on whether their current assistant gets the job at Michigan. Bill Freehan also stepping down this year. So Rich Jude, maybe with this experience, taking it back to the Big Ten. Back upstairs to you guys.
All right, Patrick, thank you. Tom and I discussed just that subject a little bit earlier. We discussed it privately. This is Fred Soriano, who bluffs the bunt, but costs him anyway. No balls, 2 strikes.
You know, one of the guys that had a lot of nice things to say about Rich Jude before he departed the scene was Ben Grieve. I talked to Ben and asked him whether or not he thought he was going to Modesto to get some more individualized coaching. He felt that he had gotten very good coaching here. He mentioned Colborn and Bradley, but he made a point of mentioning Rich Jude, who he said had been very helpful, very patient with him, and worked a lot of long, hard hours. Of course, Rich was a Big Ten batting champ himself and had a little bit of experience at the minor league level, so he got the players' respect in a hurry here in West Michigan, and I'm sure that Michigan State could do a lot worse than getting this young guy. He's got a fine baseball mind and a lot of experience.
And the Jude family name, let's be honest, is held in great esteem because his dad was a quarterback, a terrific quarterback at Michigan State many years ago.
Steve Jude back in '66, the great team that they had with Bubba Smith and George Webster and all those guys.
Well, Jason Bell doesn't need any great defensive players because he's doing it himself. He retires the Whitecaps 1, 2, 3 again. We're going to the 6th, and it's still Fort Wayne 2 and West Michigan 1.
You'll soon have one less choice at the Dodge Buyer's Choice Final Cleanup. Time. Because time is running out to choose savings and values of up to $1,897 on a stunning Dodge Intrepid. Or choose an interest rate clipped to as low as 1.9%. Or choose an Intrepid lease rate of only $219 a month. So hurry in today before all your Intrepid choices are all cleaned out. See the friendly Dodge dealer near you.
Since I'm the guy that gets up and puts his mug on TV and says, I guarantee it, what I really want to make sure that every customer leaves a Men's Warehouse store with is a positive experience. So my advice to you is just be yourselves. Try to make the customer feel like he's shopping in a neighborhood clothing store circa 1900.
In Kentwood on 28th Street Southeast across from Woodland Mall.
Buy an award-winning Ski-Doo snowmobile now. With no money down, no interest or payments until '96. Plus, get a free year of the best extended service. What are you waiting for? It's the Ski-Doo Super Celebration. Going on now. See your Northwest Michigan Ski-Doo Association dealer or call 1-800-9-SKI-DOO.
All right, it's chicken dancing time here at Old Kent Park. The shot moving around a little bit. Dancing through Dave McLeod. Look at this. The umpire down there now getting into the act a little bit. There we go.
Hey, Byron bringing out the best of everybody.
Chris Heimler, an umpire with a sense of humor. There's a rare breed.
Well, I guess he figures if Jim Colborn could do it, by golly, he can do it too. Wonder if that'll get him a ticket to the majors real soon.
Yeah, a couple of weeks from now, people will say, I went to Old Kent Park the other night and a variety show broke out.
Well, the Wizards have parlayed their two-run first inning into a 2-1 lead as we move into the 6th. Corey Koski, the all-star third baseman, will lead things off. He'll be followed by Troy Fortin and Kelsey Mucker. His bunt rolls foul for strike one. So this is really the meat of the Wizards lineup here tonight. And Andy Smith has pitched very well, just not quite as well as his counterpart Jason Bell has pitched so far. Corey Koski 1 for 2 tonight, batting .306 on the season, 13 home runs, 72 RBIs. Fields his position third.
Got to believe this guy broke a few hockey coaches' hearts in Manitoba when he decided to play baseball for a living. 6'3", 208. I can just see him charging down the left wing some night at the Joe Louis Arena.
Big swing comes up empty there. Well, it's like Larry Walker, Canadian-born, and you get an athlete born in Canada, and traditionally you're going to come out and play hockey, and may in fact have done so, but with Montreal and Toronto fielding teams, youngsters growing up in Canada now have a different interest. That one sails way wide, 1 ball, 2 strikes. A lot of skilled hockey players, and we're assuming that Corey Koski was at some time, but Tom Glavine was a terrific hockey player in Massachusetts, and in fact could choose one over the other and opted for baseball. Off-speed pitches down in the dirt, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Been some great Canadians in Major League Baseball. I guess the most notable in the recent era was Ferguson Jenkins. I can recall the Tigers back in the 60s had a left-handed pitcher by the name of Mike Kilkenny, who was a Canadian. And people used to always talk to Mike about hockey. He said, oh, well, I was a baseball player all my life, and this is pretty much it.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Andy Smith was out in front 0-2 and is falling behind to the full count now. It's got to be hard giving the rich tradition and the fact that hockey is played everywhere on every level in Canada, growing up as a young man and not playing hockey. And Koski will skate down to first on another free pass. So Andy Smith is off to a bad start here at the top of the sixth, putting the first one on free. That brings up Troy Fortin, the first baseman. Fortin walked back in the first inning and bounced out shortstop in the third. So he is 0 for 1 with that walk.
Well, you talk about Canadians being involved in baseball. You would think that some kids that are born and raised in the areas like Windsor, Ontario, or Toronto, places like that, might be favorably disposed toward baseball because, let's face it, they see a lot of baseball growing up around in close proximity to American towns that have Major League Baseball. But when you talk about Koski, he's a kid from Manitoba. I don't think you're getting a lot of Major League exposure. Probably get American television there, I would guess, but not the same as if you grew up right across the river from a place like Detroit or Buffalo, New York, or somewhere like that.
Of course, the Plains provinces have a long tradition of AAA baseball and minor league baseball. Calgary and Edmonton have had teams, I think, since shortly after World War II, so there may have been a factor there.
Toronto and Montreal also were great minor league towns before they had major league teams.
No balls, 2 strikes to Troy Fortin with Koski on at first after the walk. We are in the 6th inning. Fort Wayne still leading the Whitecaps 2-1. Glad you could join us tonight on TV 13. He laid off that tempting one up in the eyeballs. 1 ball, 2 strike. As we told you earlier, we will be back with you next Friday night for the next to last regular season game of the Whitecaps. We'll make some judgments about broadcasting beyond that if and when the Whitecaps qualify for that wildcard position. Well, that looked pretty close, and Andy Smith thought he might have had it, but it was a little bit inside. So 2 balls, 2 strikes to Fortin with Kelsey Mucker on deck. He's the guy who has accounted for both Wizards runs. First time tonight we've got some activity in the Whitecaps bullpen. And we will check that momentarily. The 2-2 pitch. Koski's going. It's going to keep him out of a double play. D'Amico steps across, gloves it, fires to first for out number 1, but the fact that Koski was running kept the Wizards out of a double play.
Well, D'Amico looking more and more comfortable with his position down there at third base. A guy that came to this organization as a shortstop. As a matter of fact, Jim Colborn says that of his middle infielders, or actually the 3 other than Alex Miranda, all were pegged as shortstops at one point. Castro, Soriano, and also Jeff D'Amico. That chicken's not going to fly anywhere tonight.
Might make a nice roast tomorrow, though. It's Chris Morrison working in the Whitecaps bullpen here in the 6th. Koski is at second, 1 out. Kelsey Mucker, 1 for 2. He's got the double in both RBIs. Oh, saw a big floater up in his face and wanted to launch it. Last time up, as I remember, Mucker looked very bad in striking out in the 4th inning. Went after a couple of high, soft ones, just like that one. And Andy Smith got him one more time.
Well, this guy's going to see a lot of deuces from here on out, especially with a runner in scoring position. If he gets another fastball, it's probably not going to be on the plate.
Outfield just a little bit shaded to right, not all that much. That's inside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Infield around to the right a little bit as well. Shortstop Freddie Soriano closer to second than he normally would be. And third baseman Jeffrey D'Amico's off the line as well. So it would seem that they figure Mucker can muscle it to the right side as well. There you see the infielders and the middle and right fielders, center and right fielders, pinched around just a little bit. The 1-1 pitch. Mucker laid off it. Costin outside corner. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
He's probably not going to get a better one to hit than that. I think he was probably guessing breaking ball there, and he had to let that one float by, but a real good pitcher's pitch in the outside corner.
So Smith is ahead of him, 1 ball, 2 strikes with 1 out. Right down the heart of the plate, and an odd swing by Mucker. He almost seemed to chop at it. And as I said, Tom, this is the second at-bat in which he's looked very much fooled by most of Andy Smith's pitches.
Yeah, he's real anxious on that breaking ball. Has a hard time staying back, and he just barely was able to fight that one off. More or less threw his bat and his body in front of the ball there, trying to get a little piece and keep himself alive at the plate. Didn't do much with that curveball, and my guess is he's going to get another opportunity right now to see if he can hit a breaker. Seems to have stepped a little bit closer to the plate, too, with all the off-speed pitches he's seeing. There's a
hard one on the outside part of the plate. He gets enough of it to send it back into the netting. Count remains 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, we don't want to hex Andy Smith, but he has pitched exceedingly good baseball here for the last almost 5 innings, really. He had a little bit of trouble in the first inning, 2 walks and a double, and after that, really not much.
Wants to get off the hook here with Koski at second and 1 out. His 1-2 offering is ripped to right field. Now it's going to die a little bit. Right fielder Emil Brown started back on it, came in on it, then rifles the throw to try to get Koski at second. It skips past shortstop Freddie Soriano, but Jeffrey D'Amico's right where he should be, backing it up. So it goes as a soft fly ball to right field. Out number 2. Koski still at second base. And Shane Gunderson, the left fielder, comes to bat.
Well, a real opportunity for the Whitecaps and Emil Brown that time, but it looked as though he had some difficulty getting rid of the baseball now. As we watch him make this catch, Koski thinks this ball is going to drop in, and he is almost to third. Now, Emil gets over there, plays it, but he is surprised by the fact that Koski is well off the bag, and he kind of double-clutched it there instead of just letting it fly, and the throw got past Soriano anyway. But had he thrown it right away, he might have been able to make that close at second base.
I didn't notice that the first time, and you're right, he did. He was surprised and didn't really get his body in position to throw it. This is left fielder Shane Gunderson, who is 0 for 2 tonight with a strikeout. Koski still at second, 2 outs. We're in the 6th. The Wizards over the Whitecaps 2-1. Just 5 hits total in this game. This has been a battle of pitchers. Andy Smith pops that one in a little bit inside. 2 balls, no strike. Rob DeBoer's throw had everybody on the infield jumping. Shortstop and second baseman started converging on the middle because the throw was low, and Andy Smith had to dig it out a little bit. Outfielders and infielders almost straight away this time. That's inside. Knocked down by DeBoer again. 2 balls, no strikes.
You know, it's just a little thing. We can't fault Rob DeBoer for dropping 1 pitch, but that's something that scouts and front office personnel will look at. How good are catchers at simply catching the pitches? Because if you drop one that's close, in all likelihood, the umpire's not going to give you the call.
Actually, it's 3 balls, no strikes. That's got the outside corner, 3 balls and 1 strike. If you're joining us late, Michigan on the last play of the game, throwing about a 15-yard touchdown pass. Scott Dreisbach to Mercury Hayes for an 18-17 win down in Ann Arbor today at the University of Virginia. Tomorrow on TV 13, we've got Ohio State and Boston College. So a 1-2 punch for college football fans this weekend. And here we're trying to get the Whitecaps to get out of a problem here and score some runs. They're down 2-1. The 3-1 pitch to Gunderson is rifled, but well fouled. He jumped on that off-speed pitch. He was way out in front of it, fortunately, because that was surely going to score a run. Count those full 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Probably have only seen 2 balls hit harder than that tonight. The double by Mucker, and then the ball that was hit by Freddie Soriano that went over the fence foul back early on. I think that was in the 2nd inning when that occurred. But that time, Gunderson was right on it. Just got out in front.
Smith checks Koski at second. Fires. That one's hard hit. D'Amico backhands, has the long throw, guns him out to get out of the inning. A nice play all around by Jeffrey D'Amico to avoid any damage. We'll take another look at it before we leave, but we'll tell you that we are moving to the bottom of the 6th. Fort Wayne still leading at 2-1. Take a look at D'Amico get in position, set, fire, and retire. We're coming right back.
It's year-end clearance time at Boardman Ford, and that means it's time for the 95s to go. We've got the deals you just can't believe. With rebates up to $2,500, brand new 95 Tauruses as low as $14,995. New Escorts loaded with air, stereo, and more, just $10,995. F-Series trucks, over 80 in stock, all starting at $199 per month. Everything must be sold because the 96s are already rolling in. So come and save at Boardman Ford, the home of the Redcoats, on 28th at Ivan Rest in Grand Rapids.
Hi, remember me, the son? Where have you been? You haven't been by to visit, because I know, but you could, for free, because every time you charge on your old Kent credit card, you earn card miles, the fastest way to fly, for free on any U.S. airline. So call 1-800-949-FREE for an old Kent credit card. And come see me. Ooh, and don't forget your sunscreen.
Okay, here's 5 things all guys should know. 1, don't change it to something different when you're around your friends. 2, ring the doorbell, don't beep the horn. 3, hold the onion! 4, it's an invention called the telephone. Use it. And 5, nix the smoking. That yellow cheap cigarette stench thing, it's not working. You guys getting this?
We are back to Old Kent Park. There you see the pertinent numbers, not a lot of hitting. And that's because there's some good pitching on both ends of the spectrum. Here, the Whitecaps here at the bottom of the 6th will send up Jose Castro, David Nuhan, and Emil Brown. The 1, 2, and 3 batters trying to get something going against Jason Bell, who has been mowing them down lately. Little activity in the Wizards bullpen as Castro hammers that into the dirt, foul for strike 1.
Might be Dowhauer down there, John.
It is Darren Dowhauer. We saw him earlier this year, I think, in the game we did down in Fort Wayne.
23-year-old right-hander from Ashburn, Virginia.
No balls and a strike to Jose Castro. Outside corner. Boy, I say it again, and I don't mean to be redundant, but Jason Bell, for the last 3 or 4 innings, has had control and placement and speed, and he's just on top of his game, and he's a good-looking young prospect if he can pitch this way regularly. The 0-2 pitch to Castro is ripped down the line. I think that's going to throw a foul into the bullpen. It is.
You know, this guy really has only, John, in the last 3+ innings, given up 1 ball that's been hit out of the infield. That was a fly ball to center field off the bat of Brown in the 3rd inning. But during that time, he has struck out 6. He's retired a couple of people, actually 3 on grounders, 2 of which were comebackers to the mound. So he has been overmatching the Whitecaps here since that 2nd inning when the Whitecaps scored their only run on the bloop single off the bat of Eric Harris.
Castro in the 0-2 hole leading off the 6th. That's outside. Bell wasted one, tried to tease him, get him to chase a hard one outside. He did not. 1 ball, 2 strikes. You don't want to overstate a situation here where you're in a playoff chase, but everything is magnified when you need this game and that game and 1 more game here and there in order to get into the playoffs. That is bounce, just foul. Down toward Patrick Bartley. First base dugout. Gives us a nice wave. There's Patrick. Didn't make much of a play on it. I've seen him play softball before, so I'm not surprised.
As we mentioned, Jason Bell's from Orlando, Florida. He will turn 22 here in about a month or so. So he's a fine young prospect, and he's had good numbers and been very impressive here tonight. No doubt about it.
I think he's just going to turn 21, isn't he? 1-2 pitch. Well, Castro just stayed alive.
Well, you're right. Born in 1974, about to be 21 years old.
And you can tell the dominance that he has right now because, particularly on that pitch, but a lot of other ones, the Whitecaps are bailing and their behind's going one way and the front foot is quivering and they're just not sure what to expect from this guy, which is an indication of how dominant he is.
He's had a tight slider that he's used against right-handers that's broken away sharply, and against left-handers, the ball, he'll cut it the other way.
Comes with a hard one there, and Castro rifles that straight back and off the facade. Still 1-2.
He'll throw that little backup slider, John, that kind of cuts away from the left-hander. He turns it over just a little bit. And there you see a very, very impressive earned run average for this league, 1.42. That is truly microscopic.
At any league, let's be honest. The 1-2 pitch. Again, Castro fooled, and they're going to say it's fouled off.
Well, he missed that one.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure, and he knows that he missed it.
But he's going to stay there until home plate umpire Chris Heinrich throws him out. I'd like to see that again. I don't know if we have that from a different angle. Okay.
Catcher didn't make much of an argument.
No.
I'm not sure he knew either.
Now let's take another look here. Oh, my.
If he hit it after it bounced, and I don't think that counts.
I don't believe so. Maybe in cricket it does, but 1-2 one more time. That's outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. So Castro, to his credit, is hanging tough. I'm going to get a different angle view here. Let's see.
He misses this ball by 3 feet.
Yeah, I'd say, well, he missed it in live action. He missed it by a couple of feet, so in spite of hanging in there, Jose Castro is retired on a strikeout. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 out of the last 7 Whitecaps have been retired via the strikeout. And so Jason Bell is really impressing people.
And we want to remind you that you're watching baseball action from Old Kent Park tonight on TV 13 WZZM, Grand Rapids, Michigan.
David Newhand trying to figure him out, not having much luck there. Starting out, taking a look at called strike 1. Back in the second inning, Newhand bounced out to second base and then struck out in the third inning. The 0-1 pitch outside.
Down the last time through the order for the Whitecaps, 6 of the 9 hitters have struck out. 2 have hit ground balls, one of which was back to the pitcher, and only Emil Brown, as we mentioned, getting it out of the infield. A fly ball to just medium depth center field. So this guy's getting stronger as the night goes on.
Threw that one good and hard and caught the corner. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
My guess is if you ask the Whitecap hitters after this game, they will say that this guy had very good velocity on his slider because they're missing that pitch big. And that indicates that they think it's a fastball and they're just swinging at something that's not even there.
1-2, Newhand shoots that one into the gap. Well, actually, it's going to left field, and it's very shallow. Shane Gunderson is over for out number 2. I apologize. I was fooled. I saw Armand Brown get a break on it like it was going to be high into the gap, but actually floated harmlessly to Gunderson in shallow left for out number 2. And it's not saying much, but that's the best hit ball we've seen by Whitecap for a long time.
Well, the only chance the Whitecaps are going to have is if Dan Roan decides this guy is running out of gas, or perhaps due to the fact that he has seen only limited action as a professional this year with this team, they may have him on a pitch limit. He may go 7, and then they'll turn it over to their bullpen. But he is getting better, not worse.
And another indication is he is getting ahead of every batter. That's the 3rd straight batter this inning that he started out with a strike. And as I remember, he did it the last inning, too. There's another one. Guy's very impressive. No balls, 2 strikes to Emil Brown. And there is none of the Whitecaps right now. There are none of the Whitecaps right now who can figure this guy out.
Well, he can throw. He's got him set up for just about anything.
Yep. And that is lifted. Well, that's better hit, but to no avail. Kelsey Mucker came in for a step, then ran back and grabbed it, and that's out number 3. So a couple of balls leave the infield. Not much consolation for the Whitecaps. They go 3 up, 3 down. We're going to the 7th, and it remains Fort Wayne 2 and Whitecaps 1.
If you've been waiting for a great buy on a GMC truck, this is it. Year-end closeout. Right now, get the lowest prices of the year on all remaining 1995 Jimmys. This Ford utility has it all. Comfort, power, safety, lots of room, and great looks. Also, take advantage of year-end discounts on Sonoma Sport pickups. Plus $500 cash back on selected models. It's closeout time at your West Michigan GMC truck dealers.
No, this birthday doesn't bother me.
Your mother was how old when she had cancer? So let's do something. There's that Betty Ford Cancer Center at Blodgett.
I've been thinking about it.
We should do more than just think about it.
Okay, I'll call. If it'll make you feel better.
Excuse me. Hi, I'm making this big announcement because the Biggie Ford's factory authorized clearance is here. It's your chance to get incredible clearance savings on thousands of new Fords, plus special cashback offers up to $2,500. That could mean no money down. It's the Biggie, and it's now at your Ford dealer. Now my impression of the ruby-crested warbler.
Welcome back to Old Kent Park, where the Whitecaps trail 2-1, and that is in the top of the 7th inning. Andy Smith, the pitcher who started the game, his night is done. 101 pitches, they only gave up 3 hits. He did get tagged in the first inning for 2 runs, but settled down after that. Chris Morrison is the pitcher on the hill. Let's go back upstairs for more information on him to John and Tom.
All right, Patrick, before we move to Chris Morrison, let me tell you about Andy Smith's line. 6 innings, 2 runs, both earned, 3 hits, 4 strikeouts, 4 walks. Pitched very, very well. Chris Morrison on the mound now. in relief, and he's got a tough act to follow because both pitchers have been totally dominant. Morrison just wants to keep the Wizards where they are with 2 runs, so his ball club can come back. And now for the next 3 innings, let's turn it back over to Tom Cleary.
All right, John, this is a young man from the quaint little village of Auburn, Alabama, Chris Morrison. Getting to the time of the year that I'm sure he enjoys the War Eagles on the football field. First pitch is a ball as Morrison takes over here in the 7th inning. This is Adrian Gordon who takes it again for ball 2. 0 for 1 officially tonight. He struck out back in the 2nd inning. And there's part of our crew right there. Hey, fellas, Dave McLeod, the man behind the camera tonight.
You were speculating, Tom, about the possibility of Jason Bell having reached a pitch limit. Down in the Fort Wayne bullpen, Darren Dowhauer is throwing in earnest as if he's going to come in the next inning, and I think the Whitecaps as a group may stand and applaud that.
John, I also saw that when Jason Bell went out down to the dugout at the end of the last inning, he was getting high fives from all of his teammates, sort of suggesting that his stay on the hill might be finished. Normally, if a pitcher was going good like that and he was going to stay in the ball game, you'd leave him alone, kind of like talking during a no-hitter to the guy that's throwing it. They just let the pitcher get lost in his world and his routine, and with very few interruptions, if at all possible. But when he came out of that last inning, all the guys came over and said something to him. So my guess is he's probably done, which is probably great news for the Whitecaps. 2-2 count now here on Adrian Gordon, the DH, and he takes it outside to run the count full. It's 2-1 here at Old Kent Park. We're in the top of the 7th inning. Glad you're with us tonight on TV 13 for our live exclusive coverage of West Michigan Whitecaps baseball. Tom Cleary along with John Matlack and Patrick Clark, the rest of our crew, and this is a grounder to Freddie Soriano at short. Room service bounce, and across it goes, and Adrian Gordon's out by about a step at first base for the first out of the 7th inning. Scott Hilt, the catcher, flew out to center field in his last at-bat. He was a strikeout victim back in the 2nd. 0 for 2 officially for this young man who's looking to move his batting average up. And there we see Jason Bell smiling for the camera. Don't think your mom's watching, but she'd be proud of you, Jason.
And she's got the dish in Orlando humming around looking for our signal someplace.
And that's a strike to Scott Hilt.
There's a youngster who came ready to play.
And it looks like a curfew violation for that young man. His family is starting to make the move up the dirt path and perhaps toward the dugout. He'll get home in time to catch the end of the game on TV. Swing and a miss, strike 2 now to Scott Hilt. As we mentioned, he's playing in place of Jose Valentin, young guy from Westfield, Massachusetts, 22-year-old catcher. And Morrison comes inside, and Hilt wraps it on the ground between first and second for a base hit. So he's aboard with 1 out, and that'll bring up the shortstop, Mike Moriarty. I guess as Dan Roan might, even with 1 out, have Moriarty bunting here in this situation. Ball out over the plate. Hilt got the head of the bat out, drove it past Castro in the right field for the base hit. Only the 4th hit of the night for the Wizards. The Whitecaps have just 2. Is not offering to bunt on that first delivery, which is down low, blocked nicely by DeBoer, but it's a ball. 2 runs in the first inning for the Wizards. The Caps came back on an RBI single by Eric Harris in the 2nd inning. We've got nothing but goose eggs up on the board ever since then. Now in the 7th inning here at Old Kent Park. A record crowd on hand tonight. John, did we get the official number yet?
I was just wondering about that as you were mentioning that. I'll see if I can track it down.
But if Bruce Radley says it's a record crowd, it's a record crowd. Take it to the bank. Soriano gets the force at second. He had to wait for that one. Looked as though D'Amico might cut that ball off. Freddie, though, ranges into the hole to his right and gets it over to Castro to force Scott Hilt at second for the 2nd out of the inning.
You know, I honestly think that D'Amico was going to take this until Soriano called him off, because you saw his head spin. It would have been a very difficult play for D'Amico, and it was a little bit easier for Freddie knowing that he was just going to snap it over and get the force out. As it was a close play. Fred has a tendency to snap that throw, and he's got a very good throwing arm, but sometimes the snap throw isn't quite as accurate as you might like if you're a Whitecaps coach or manager or fan. Nonetheless, he gets the second out there.
And Morrison just gave it an easy toss over to first base that time. Moriarty was leaning just a bit. Keep an eye on Moriarty. He's obviously a guy who can run some. And this is Armand Brown, who's got a single for 2 officially tonight, walked in the first and scored the game's first run.
Moriarty is 7 for 7 in steal attempts, Tom. Nobody has caught him all year. That time, Morrison just held the ball up, and he went burrowing back. Armand Brown got a base hit last time, and then was erased by Andy Smith on a nice pickoff throw to first base. Little cat and mouse game going on right now.
Morrison perhaps just a tad uncomfortable with the lead that Moriarty's getting over there. It's not enough of a lead to toss one yet, but he wants to make sure that Moriarty knows that he's paying attention. Moriarty's not going, and the pitch is a high fastball for a strike. The snap throw down there. DeBoer held on just a second there, and I think it was the case where he perhaps was thinking Alex Miranda was not quite ready for the throw.
Well, you took every single word right out of my mouth. That's exactly what I saw, too. The throw, the throw, to be honest, was a little bit over the bag as well. If it were down lower, it would have been closer. But they are aware of Mr. Moriarty's tendencies, that's for sure.
Morrison's going to toss one over. You know, if they're more confident of their abilities, John, I think you'll see DeBoer somewhere down the line as he continues his maturation as a player, fire that ball and just expect that Miranda will get back to the bag. That's pretty much the way it has to be. You almost have to throw it. It's like throwing to a receiver before he's broken open. You can't wait till he gets open, then it's too late. And the same thing applies on that kickoff play at first base. Ball back to the screen makes it a 2-strike count with 2 gone here in the 7th. Armand Brown batting .230 on here, facing Chris Morrison. He's rather closely shorn on top for the summer heat in which he's playing here. My guess is we might see a pitch out here. Armand Brown calls time at the plate. Dan Roan would like to get that guy into scoring position, and certainly Morrison's got one to waste here. So we'll see who's guessing right on this one. Is it Roan or is it Colborn in the Whitecaps dugout? Morrison's going to toss it over again. I'm guessing 0-2. He's not going. If this next pitch is a ball, he probably would be. A little too easy a setup for a pitch out right here, and I think Dan Roan realizes that. Morrison well ahead in the count.
Well, Moriarty, if nothing else, is certainly getting his uniform dirty. He's gone back head first every time. Most of the time it's been necessary.
Fakes but doesn't go, and Brown lifts one foul down the right field line. Emil Brown giving chase, and it's into the grass, and wow. Young guy in the blue shirt came up with that one.
It's a dog-eat-dog world out there on those hills, isn't it?
And you're trying for those foul balls, you're wearing milk-bone pork chops around your neck. Oh, 2 pitch coming up. I guess he's going this time, but I'm wrong. He's not going. It was down low, and Brown held it off. 1-2 the count on Armand Brown with 2 gone in the 7th. Fort Wayne trying to add to its precarious 1-run lead. It's 2-1. 2 runs, 4 hits for the visitors. 1 run, 2 hits for the Whitecaps. Neither team has made an official miscue in the field tonight. And Morrison just faking the throw over there. Moriarty scurries back into the bag. Now he's going, got a great jump, and it's a strike 3, and the inning ends as Brown strikes out. So it's the 7th inning stretch now, brought to you by Saturn of Grand Rapids. The Wizards lead the Whitecaps 2-1.
One of my duties in the fire department is to test all the new trucks. I want them to have the same quality as my car. Of course, the Saturn has better pickup. I like to drive my Saturn more than my fire truck. My Saturn's a lot easier to drive. So if I'm going to a four-alarm fire, I'm going to take my fire truck. If I go anyplace else, I take the Saturn. When people see me coming, they better get out of the way.
Well, we're back at Old Kent Park as the Whitecaps get a break. Jason Bell leaves the ball game after 6 innings of work. And the new pitcher will be Darren Dowhauer.
So do I.
Well, nice to know they're watching us in the luxury boxes here tonight. I would have been a little disappointed if they'd had Matlock on, or Matlock on, I should say.
Well, they do have Matlock on, it says. Hey, we do have another new record attendance. Surprise, surprise, huh? Paid attendance tonight, 8,681 for a season total of 490,549. So they need to average a little under 5,000 for their last 2 games next Friday and Saturday. They could do that if they didn't open the gates, providing, of course, Mother Nature cooperates. So they just keep going and going and going. And Fort Wayne pitching so far has kept going and going and going.
You know, it's not inconceivable, John, that the Whitecaps could lose 2 dates, let everybody in for that final ball game, get a crowd of 9,500 in here, and still get over 500,000 for the year.
Well, isn't that pretty much what Kane County did? They roped off sections of the field. They actually had people on the field. I don't think they were allowed to take gloves out there, but it seemed a little odd when they jammed that 10,000-plus crowd in a few weekends ago.
Well, it's the hard-throwing Darren Dowhauer to face Jeffrey D'Amico here in the bottom of the 7th inning. The Whitecaps need some runs, and D'Amico hits a short fly to right field that is playable for that man, Kelsey Mucker, and that is out number 1. So first ball hitting Jeff D'Amico goes down on a fly to right field.
I'm curious. I'm going to ask Bob down here. Is that 15 or 16 straight batters that have been retired now? 15 or 16 straight batters that have been retired by Fort Wayne pitching? 14, okay. 14 straight batters that have been retired. It's a pretty good pitching effort, isn't it?
Excellent. Last guy to reach was Harris back in the 2nd inning on that single that scored a run. Every once in a while you see a guy that's not giving up many hits or somebody that's not giving up many walks, but we don't often in this league see somebody that is able to accomplish both of those goals. But certainly the pitching staff, first Bell and now Dowhauer, seems to be capable of doing it tonight as Alex Miranda sees the count run to 2-0. The good news is, though, the Whitecaps are hanging tough. Their pitching has been up to the task here tonight. They've given up only 2 runs, and they trail just 2-1. As Miranda cut at that one, foul tipped it into the glove of Hilt, and the count goes to 2-1.
But I think right now they would settle to get a man on base and try to generate something, manufacture something with a guy on. They haven't had a guy on, as Tom said, since back in the 2nd inning, so it's hard to do much.
That's off the corner, 3-1 now on Alex Miranda. I'm a little bit surprised with a new pitcher in there, John, to see Jeffrey D'Amico swing at the first delivery from Dowhauer. May have helped him out a little bit, but Miranda's going about it a little bit differently. He wants to take some looks, and he has earned himself a walk. So the long drought ends. All we had to do, I guess, is mention it. The fact that the Whitecaps hadn't had anybody on for quite a while, and then it happens. So Miranda goes down to first, and we will get a look now at Rob DeBoer, who's been quiet like the rest of his teammates tonight. He did score the Whitecaps run back in the 2nd inning. He reached base on a walk, stole second, came around on the single by Harris, struck out though on his last at bat in the 4th inning. Man on, man out here in the bottom of the 7th inning. The Whitecaps playing in front of a crowd of nearly 8,700 tonight, looking for the equalizer. Not much of a lead for Miranda, and this pitch is up high from Dowhauer.
We're already getting activity in the Fort Wayne bullpen, Tom. And let me check this. That's Dan Perkins. Perkins, another right-hander. Quick throw over on Miranda. Not really with a big lead. Scurries back. No activity in the Whitecaps bullpen. Perkins up for the Wizards. Dowhauer in a bit of a jam. If a runner on first with one out is a jam.
Yeah, it's down low for ball two. If memory serves, John, didn't Dowhauer really get roughed up in a ball game here at Old Kent Park with the Whitecaps earlier this year?
Now, I don't know if it was here or if it was down in Fort Wayne.
That might well have been there.
But I remember he came in with a brilliant earned run average of under 2, and they hit him all over the yard. And right now he's throwing very, very hard, but he hasn't been able to find location. And Stu Clyburn, the Wizards pitching coach, is out there for a quick confab with his pitcher and his catcher, Scott Hilt. And now home plate umpire Chris Heimler trots out to break up the meeting.
I believe it was that wild one that we had down in Fort Wayne. We get a look at Rick Berkey, and that's Booth Over doing radio. Kind of interesting. He can also MC high school dances with that equipment that he has right next to him. During the game, as a matter of fact.
Wow. Well, you had to figure that DeBoer was going to be swinging there after the conference, and you've already walked a guy, you don't want to walk another. And DeBoer was obviously of the opinion that Dowhauer was going to shoot one right down the pipe, which it seemed he did. DeBoer fouled it off to the right.
On deck is Jose Soriano. DeBoer trying to get his numbers back up there before the end of the season. He's a little bit below 250 now for the year. This one cut fastball just a little bit inside, and the count goes to 3-1. So if DeBoer can watch one more bad one sail by, the Whitecaps will have the tying run in scoring position here in the 7th inning. You know, I wonder here, I'm not sure if Colborn would start the runner. Might be a good place to try something like that, though. You figure Dowhauer is going to be around the plate. Let's see if Miranda goes. He's not going, and DeBoer fouls it back. I kind of thought in that situation, you figured Dowhauer is going to be around the plate, and you might want to start Alex Miranda, who's not the fastest runner on the team. But Colborn played it conservatively, and my guess is 3-2 with one out. He may be going this time. Strike 3, and the throw to second is wild. DeBoer can't believe it. That is a horrible-looking pitch in my estimation, and DeBoer doesn't say anything. Now, I don't know if that ball was on the... Let's take a look at this one. It looks to me like it's a good 6-8 inches outside.
Well, we're going to judge here.
Well, we don't have a perfect angle, but it looks to me like Hilt reaches for this ball.
Oh, my. Well, you know what? You saw the double pump. I don't think he threw because he thought it was ball 4.
Yeah.
And then he heard home plate umpire Chris Heimler ring up DeBoer, and then he figured, hey, I better throw.
Maybe we can rack that one more time, guys, when we get a chance. They take another look at that when time allows. Jose Soriano swings and can't find it. Hilt has had some trouble locating the baseball back there, but that last pitch from DeBoer, if you just watch the catcher's reaction. And we'll go slowly through it this time. Now watch the catcher reach way out there, and that was strike 3. And DeBoer is just kind of stunned. He's a catcher. He ought to know what the strike zone is, and he didn't even move the bat that time. He thought that was low and away, and I would have to agree with him. About a runner at second with 2 out now for the Whitecaps and Jose Soriano, and Jose takes it outside, and the count runs even at 1.
Right fielder Kelsey Mucker in rather shallow. You don't expect Jose Soriano to plant one deep to right field. He doesn't have opposite field power to speak of, and Mucker's playing shallow here in case there's a base hit to try to cut down Miranda at the plate.
That one looked a lot better than the pitch that struck Rob DeBoer out, but it's outside or high, depending on your viewpoint. Up in the zone, perhaps just a little. 2-1 the count now. Man at second. 2 gone here in the top of the 7th. Whitecaps need a run to tie. Soriano way out in front that time on the breaking pitch, and now Jose is thinking about going for the hat trick here. He struck out in the 2nd, struck out in the 5th, and He's struggling a little bit now against Darren Dowhauer here in the 7th inning. He held off on the breaking ball that time, down in the dirt, and the count runs full.
It kind of looks like he's sitting on a fastball because he was fooled by the breaking ball the last time and let that one go.
I think Dowhauer's going to throw him another breaking pitch right here. He's got first base open. Doesn't really matter if he puts him on, keeps the force out in order. I'm thinking it's a breaking ball here. Well, he couldn't get it over, and Jose watches it sail wide for ball 4. So now Big Cat comes to the plate, Eric Harris, with a chance to do what he did earlier, driving a run. Patrick Clark down near the dugout.
Thanks, Tom. Had a recent conversation real quickly with Bert Bradley, the pitching coach for the Whitecaps. He was talking about the pitcher on the hill right now, talking about a very effective pitch he has that he calls a knuckle curve, which just kind of drops off the table as it gets right to the hitter. Whitecaps hitter's having some trouble with it, but he's not throwing it for strikes right now, and his fastball's erratic. Bert Bradley's hoping that the Dan Perkins, the guy that's warming up in the bullpen, will come in. He says he's even wilder, so they're hoping that maybe they can get some gifts here from the Wizard pitchers.
Well, when your best hope is divine intervention, doesn't say much for what your ball club's doing on the field.
Well, you can see that most of Dowhauer's misses are down low. And the one that maybe wasn't missed, it wasn't called a miss, was low and outside.
Where's our Dowhauer Cupid dial? Maybe we can put a hairpin in that and facilitate a change in the mound. 1-0 the count on the Big Cat. Fastball swung out and missed. Boy, he had that one in a good spot, low and away. Dowhauer working in relief of Jason Bell, who was spectacular here tonight, giving up just 2 hits in 6 innings of work, and the Whitecaps eating out of his hand the last 4 innings of work that he put in on them. The Big Cat watches it outside. 2-1 now. That might have been the knuckle curve right there. That ball had some funny motion on it. Harris is single back in the 2nd inning, the last hit for the Whitecaps in this one. Jose Castro at the other hit. He led off the game with a single. And Dowhauer came with a smoke that time, and he was way up high. So the count runs to 3-1 with 2 out. Colborn is talking to Eric Harris from the third base coach's box, and now Scott Hilt walks out to talk to Dowhauer. My guess is, John, he's got the red light on this one. They're going to have him look at one more pitch and then have the advantage of being able to start the runners if indeed Dowhauer is able to throw a strike.
Well, you answered my question before I asked you, because I was going to ask you just that. Do you let him go after it, figuring that Dowhauer doesn't want to load the bases and has to come in? Or do you try to ride the wild streak right now? I think he put a crater in the hill over there. Wow, did he turn on that?
Well, you got to turn them loose, I guess. And they did. And I don't know if we have any camera people who can move the camera quickly enough.
I'm checking the casualty wagon down.
Wow, that was a shot. Look at this swing by Harris. Stays back, everything into that one. Get out of the way.
And they did.
Yikes. The full count pitch, the runners will be going, and it's a high pop fly. This one's going to carry foul out of play. Back in the same general vicinity, not requiring the same quick movement on the part of the paying audience here tonight. Get out of the way of that one.
I'll tell you, when we talked about this or tiptoed around it earlier, when Eric Harris makes contact, the ball goes. What he's got to teach himself, and other people have to work with him to do, is to make contact more often.
3-2 pitch again coming up from Dowhauer. Swung on and missed, strike 3. So the Whitecaps threaten but do not score. No runs in the inning, no hits. A couple of walks, 2 men left. We go to the 8th inning. It's still Fort Wayne 2. The West Michigan Whitecaps 1.
Don't wait any longer to visit the Dodge Buyer's Choice Final Cleanup. Don't miss your chance to choose up to $1,200 off a roomy, zoomy Dodge Neon. Or to choose an interest rate clipped to as low as 1.9%. or to choose a very lean neon lease rate of only $179 a month. So hurry in today before all your best neon choices are all cleaned out. See the friendly Dodge dealer near you.
Some people believe in sunroofs. Some people don't. Z-Bar Tidy Car. We're North America's #1 installer. Believe it.
Our line of sunroofs start at $169.95. Our truck and van hitches start at $119.95.
So make contact with Z-Bar Tidy Car. We're in the white pages.
Welcome to the morning news. I'm Catherine Barron.
And I'm Paul Liddell at 67 degrees at 5:31.
Here is a look at some of the news.
Honey, the morning news is here.
Your first choice in the morning is ABC World News at 5 a.m., followed by Eyewitness News at 5:30. Together, we're the morning news in West Michigan.
All right, the strains of the Village People in the background here at Old Kent Park. The Whitecaps are going to try to hang in there in the 8th inning against the Wizards of Fort Wayne, trailing 2-1 in this ball game. I'm Tom Cleary along with John Matlack, Patrick Clark, and the rest of our TV 13 crew. The game tonight being produced by Tom Marshall. Our director is Jim Duff. And here come the Wizards to face Chris Morrison in the 8th inning. This is Israel Paez who swings and lifts a high foul fly. So at the luxury boxes down the first base line and into the crowd. The ball may have gotten back on the concourse. Well, nearly so. Paez nothing for 3. A couple of ground outs. One to the pitcher, one to second. Sandwiching a strikeout in the 3rd inning. Morrison has done his job so far on the hill in relief. It's a curved ball. It's a little bit outside. And the count is even at 1.
All the activity in both bullpens has ceased. The Wizards had a second reliever working when Dahlhauer was struggling there, but he has since sat down, and the Whitecaps bullpen is the picture of peace and quiet.
Tough play for the Caps here. Miranda's going to have to hurry. Does he get it there in time? They do to get Paez. Got stuck in his glove. Tough play, though, for the left-hander going the other way. I think Castro might have had an easier time with that ball, but Miranda got over there, made the play, and Morrison, fundamentally sound as the pitcher. He goes right to the base. He does what he has to do. Miranda couldn't quite get squared around there, and just in time to get Israel Paez.
And Morrison in good position, too, because he had his foot on the edge of the base. He wasn't going to get stepped on. He was able to stretch out and meet the ball and cut down the time a little bit, so that's a nice play all around.
Here's Koski taking it down low. So often with young pitchers, John, we see him get over in the vicinity, and then as they catch the ball, they're fishing with that right foot. And more often than not, they don't find the base. Koski hits one hard. Castro, nice play by Jose. Plenty of time to get Koski for out number 2, and look out. Little collision there. Koski's not real happy. I think he messed up on his steps going down the bag, John. He may have stumbled or he may have been trying to lunge, but if you see this one again, I suspect that was as much the fault of the hitter as it was the guy on the bag. Now let's see the end of this play here. Castro makes a nice play, and once he catches the ball, he's got plenty of time. But Koski, as he gets near the bag, well, Miranda was a little bit in the path there, and I don't think Koski was paying much attention. Here is one hit down to 3rd, and D'Amico takes care of Troy Fortin for an easy 1-2-3 inning for Chris Morrison. So the Wizards go without a whimper in the 8th inning. Here come the Whitecaps looking for a run. It's 2-1. Here at Old Kent Park.
You're looking for a new suit? Well, this is the place to be. Rogers Men's Suit Department, featuring the largest selection of men's suits and sport coats in West Michigan. You'll appreciate the quality name brands. Choose from names like Hickey Freeman, Hart Schaffner and Marks, Palm Beach, Austin Reed, Tommy Hilfiger, and many others. And Rogers' expert tailoring department assures you a perfect fit. Rogers Men's Suit Department. There is no other store quite like it anywhere in Michigan.
Hi there. Hi. Can I help you?
Yeah, I'd like a...
The batter steps to the plate. He looks for the sign. Oh, that's a good one. Here's the windup. And the pitch. What a hit. It's going. It's a Grand Slam savings event. Come to Rhonda Tire now, your West Michigan headquarters for all Kelly tires, and save with big league bargains on Kelly tires. It's a Grand Slam savings at Rhonda Tire, so don't miss it. Catch a good deal on a great tire today.
I'm hungry for excitement.
Mouth, meet the amazing taste of Long John Silver's delicious batter-dipped fish fillet. Crunchy on the outside, mild flavor on the inside.
Hot.
And our new ultimate fish sandwich with our famous filet, tangy banana peppers, and jack cheese. It's the ultimate sandwich sensation.
Wow.
Amaze your mouth with the amazing taste of Long John Silver's fish.
This is love.
The ultimate fish sandwich, fries, and a drink, now just $2.99.
Now, at your Ford Grand Rapids Ford dealers, there's Contour. Just $199 a month at your Ford Grand Rapids Ford dealers. Stetler, Borgman, Tony Benton, and Keller.
Okay, here we are getting ready for the bottom of the 8th inning at Old Kent Park. The Whitecaps, they've been trailing in this one from the outset. Fort Wayne got 2 in their first at bat in the first inning. The Whitecaps countered with a run in the second, and after that, well, we have waded through just about 6 scoreless innings since that time. And it's Fred Soriano to lead off for the Caps here in the last of the 8th.
And Tom, to be honest, they've been very well played innings. We've had excellent pitching by everybody involved, just about, and we've had some nice defensive plays. So it's not a case of a sloppy game with not many runs scored. This is just an excellent baseball game right now.
Freddie fouls this one back to the screen for strike 1. Soriano gave us a little bit of a thrill early on. In the second inning, he hit one over the fence, foul by about 15 feet in left field. That's probably the hardest hit ball the Caps have had here tonight.
Well, Eric Harris's rip might surpass that.
Yeah, you're right. Darren Dowhauer working in relief of Jason Bell. And he turns that one over and misses inside to run the count even at 1. Soriano, 261 in the season, and if you could get this guy on a permanent basis up to 275 or 280, he would be a heck of a player for you. Not that he's a bad player now, but he's really learned a lot about hitting. We recall seeing this guy last year, John, when he came down from Modesto, where he had gone something like 1 for 30 in the first 2-3 weeks of the season, and it looked like he might be headed home to the Dominican Republic very soon and permanently. But he has learned how to hit the baseball. He goes the opposite way, but he's developed a little bit more power, not just a slap hitter that he was a year ago. 2-2 now on Freddie. The crowd making some noise at the behest of Jay Allen, the PA announcer here at Old Kent Park, trying to rally the Whitecaps. Freddie hits it right on the nose to center field, but it's playable for Armand Brown. Continues to back up, and about 10 feet in front of the track, he makes the catch for out number 1.
Well, it's obvious by the loft of that ball that he got just a little bit under it. I thought initially that Fred really thought he had gotten all of it, but just a fraction of an inch underneath it gave it the lift rather than the line drive that would have had him standing at second base.
Jose Castro, who has one of the 2 hits here tonight, he's also done terrible damage to that uniform. Lost his belt on a face-first slide early on, and then he tore his pant leg.
I think he tore his pant leg when he stumbled around the base, first base, didn't he?
That's right. When he got the base hit, he never made it past the bag. Fell down, and then he stole second base and lost part of his uniform. He's in there scrapping right now against Darren Dowhauer, the right-handed reliever. And he checks his swing in time, and the count is now 1-1. On deck is David Newhan. The Whitecaps down to their last 5 outs here tonight, trying to get something going.
And Koski is respecting Jose Castro's bat handling ability. He's on the grass down at third.
There's a smash to first. Fortin's going to take it by himself. So 2 hitters get it pretty much right on the nose, but they hit atom balls here to start the 8th inning for the Whitecaps. And 2 quickly are retired, and it's up to Newhan to keep it alive here.
Whitecaps still with just 2 hits all night long. None since the second inning when they scored their run. And let's just balance out the spectrum. The Wizards haven't exactly hit the ball all over the yard either. They got their 2 runs in the first inning on 2 walks and a Kelsey Mucker double. Since then, The Zero Parade has taken over the scoreboard.
David Newhand lifts a foul fly that's working back toward the dugout. I think this one's going to sail out of play. And a guy who's in the front row behind the screen, actually row 2, gets that baseball. Not one of your prime spots for retrieving baseballs, John. He's going to have quite a story to tell.
I was just going to say the same thing. You go there figuring you've got no chance at a foul ball. But he got the carom.
Newhand is set to go. Emil Brown waiting on deck if Newhand can keep it alive. This is a curve, and it's a dandy. 1-2 now with 2 gone for the Caps here in the 8th inning. Dowhauer working ahead in the order again. Or in the count, I should say. Just missed outside. It's 2-2 on David Newhand.
Dowhauer seems to have settled in a little bit in terms of his confidence. The last inning, when he missed early, Tom, he started fishing all over and couldn't quite pin down the plate. Now he seems to have found that balance, and there's a little floater.
That's a flare in the left field. David Newhand fights it off, and he's aboard with the Whitecaps' 3rd hit of the night and their 1st hit since the 2nd inning. Newhand, young man from Yorba Linda, California, gets aboard, and now Emil Brown, who's had a tough night tonight, will try to do something here. There you see Moriarty giving chase, but it's well past him and into left field. Kind of a one-handed swing by Newhand protecting the plate, John, with 2 strikes.
But it's a good bit of hitting. He kept his front foot from bailing. He kept it down there. It almost quivered a little bit, but he kept it there and was able to get the bat on the ball and just plop it into short left field. If his foot bails on that, that's a little pop-up or a little roller down to third base.
Whitecaps need to get somebody to second base. Newhand's going. He's got a good jump. In there. Close play at second, but Newhand got a great jump. And Scott Hilt made it extremely close.
I think the head-first slide gets him there.
He never looks back, too. That's great to see as well.
Watch him get down and around. Just reaches the hand in there before the tag comes up higher on the arm. It was that close, but he was there. That's an accurate call by Jeff Spadowski.
So now they've got the runner in scoring position that they need. Emil Brown, if he can fight one off into the outfield, has a chance to tie this ball game with D'Amico waiting on deck. This one bounces. Nice play by Hilt again. Well, Hilt's a pretty good receiver. He may not have the offensive capabilities as Valentin does, but he's a guy that will not hurt you behind the plate that much.
And for a second, Newhand broke toward third until he saw that the ball hadn't gone very far, and then he scurried back. You see, if you see David Newhand out there, you might see second baseman Israel Paez keeping him close and then dancing away at the last minute.
And Dowhauer misses up high this time, so the count goes to 2-1 with 2 out. First base open. He can still afford to pitch tough here to Emil Brown. He's keep the force out and all bases in order if he puts him on. Doesn't want to cave in now and give Emil Brown something good to hit.
Activity in the Wizards bullpen again, Tom.
That one is on the corner. I don't think Emil Brown liked that one. 2-2 now, the count. The number 3 hitter for the Whitecaps, all-star outfielder Emil Brown. A bounce out, a fly out, and a strikeout. His line tonight. This one wrapped foul down past Colborn in the coach's box at third. Two runs, 4 hits for the Wizards. 1 run, 3 hits for the Whitecaps. It's been a very taut and well-played baseball game here tonight on TV 13. And we want to remind you, we'll be right back here next Friday. Down low, good eye by Emil. Count runs full at 3-2.
You saw him follow it all the way down. I never left the ball, watched it all the way into Scott Hilt's glove.
Got to stay with that breaking ball in case it hangs up there. You got to be able to fight it off or hit it somewhere. Don't want to give up too quickly on that one. Payoff pitch coming up. Hit in the air to center field. Brown coming hard. Second baseman going back, and it's played by the second baseman, Paez, for out number 3. So a fine running catch by Israel Paez thwarts the rally for the Whitecaps. And after 8 complete, it's 2-1 in favor of the Wizards.
And right now it's time for our star player of the game, brought to you by Star Theaters. And our star player of the game is the starting pitcher for the Whitecaps tonight, Andy Smith. He went 6 innings, gave up 2 runs, both earned, just 3 hits. He struck out 5. He walked 4. Those walks responsible for the 2 runs that he gave up. And so Star Theaters will donate 10 passes for 2 to the Big Brothers Big Sisters program in honor of today's Whitecaps star player of the game, starting pitcher Andy Smith. We're back in a moment.
What are people saying about Star Theaters?
We enjoy the fact that it's clean and it's close to our house, and there's a lot of movies to choose from.
The service is friendly, the people are nice.
Refreshments are always real good.
I enjoy the comfort of the seats. There's a lot of extra leg room for someone as tall as myself.
I like it because it's very clean, it's very bright, and it still looks brand new.
And it's a great place to go enjoy a movie.
Discover the stars. Star Theaters in Grand Rapids and Holland.
Dan Pfeiffer has to move close to $4 million in 95 new car inventory in 60 days or less. Tracer, Mystique, Sable, Cougar, Villager, Grand Marquis, and Lincolns. Can you imagine a better time to see him for a deal? Dan Pfeiffer's $4 million closeout sale going on now.
Why are more people choosing American Mobile Living?
We felt the Friendship home had the best quality woodwork and the interior and the floor plan.
American Mobile Living offers a wide selection of spacious floor plans, quality homes featuring professionally designed interiors, an abundance of storage space, handcrafted natural hardwood cabinetry, and prices that are hard to beat. Buy a beautiful 1,040 square foot manufactured home for just $28,900. Now at American Mobile Living in Jenison and in Holland.
Excellent quality.
Ninth inning on tap here at Old Kent Park. The Whitecaps trail the Wizards by the score of 2-1. And it will be Mucker, Gunderson, and Gordon. The first 3 scheduled against Chris Morrison, who's done great work in relief of Andy Smith on the hill for the Whitecaps. Pitching has been the story in this one. 4 hits for the visitors, 3 for the home side. And a 1-run lead for the team from Fort Wayne, Indiana. That's a breaking ball inside on Mucker. Mucker had the double that scored 2. With 2 out in the first inning, and it almost goes without saying that that was indeed the big blow of the ball game to date. This one misses outside, 2-0 now.
I've got to ask you a question. Would you leave a game like this at the start of the 9th inning? There are a few people doing it, and it used to drive me crazy when I used to go to see the Pirates many years ago, or whatever game I went to see. There's a base hit.
That's going to fall in front of the left fielder Newhan, and Mucker just fisted that one off to left field. Well, I guess it's different considerations, you know, a different crowd, a lot of young kids at the ball game here tonight, and the game, it hasn't been a particularly quick game. We got started here tonight at 7 o'clock or 7:08, and it's coming up on 10 o'clock right now, so I suppose I understand some of the families that are departing early.
I don't know. I think it's kind of like taking your kids to the movie and then ending before the finale, final chase, or whatever it is. And there aren't a lot of people leaving. It's not like there's a mass exodus, but I often wondered about that. I mean, if it's 17-1 and it's the top of the 9th, maybe you bail early, but...
Here's a bunt. It's a pretty good one. Morrison fumbled it, but got it back and fires high, but Castro is able to flag it down. Chris Morrison knew what was coming there, John, and when he saw the bunt up in the air a little bit, I think he thought he might be able to field that one on the fly. And then he panicked just a bit. He fought that ball just a tad, but still had enough time to get Gunderson for the first out of the inning.
For a second there, if you saw his upper body, he was ready to dive at it, and I think he made that quick mental calculation that he wasn't going to be able to get it regardless, reset himself, and got the runner at first. So Mucker is at second with 1 out, and Adrian Gordon strides to the plate.
Gordon takes it a little bit low for ball 1. Tonight, Gordon struck out. That came back in the second inning. He walked in the fourth and then grounded short in his last appearance in the seventh inning.
Just notice some scores they're putting up on the scoreboard in center field. I didn't catch all of them. Kane County is losing, and of course Kane County is one of the teams that West Michigan is neck and neck with in terms of the wild card position. I didn't see the South Bend score. I think they led with that. So there's going to be a little scoreboard watching done for the next week.
Cedar Rapids leading the Battle Cats in the seventh inning. I thought the score of that one was 3-2. Now, that's a long way off for us, but I'm pretty sure that we saw Cedar Rapids leading in that ball game. 1-1 pitch coming up here to Adrian Gordon. It's a breaking ball, and it's a dandy. Swung at the motion that time, and he was way out in front. He falls behind in the count now, 1-2.
You're thinking ahead to the Whitecaps' ninth inning. They'll have 4, 5, and 6. D'Amico, Miranda, and DeBoer are the scheduled batters. And they need a run.
Just missed inside at the knees. 2-2 now on Adrian Gordon. He comes to the plate at this appearance, hitting .251 on the season. Man at second is Mucker. He singled, was sacrificed to second by Shane Gunderson. 2-2 pitch hit on the ground to third. D'Amico backed up, and that never seems to work. The runner will have to hold at third. Newhand hustles it in. Well, you got to charge that baseball, and Jeffrey D'Amico knows it. He had kind of an in-between bounce, John, and when you back up, that second hop usually has all sorts of funny spin on it. It didn't come up for Jeffrey, and now the Whitecaps are in some trouble.
But you could almost see the wheels turning as he's going back, and if you've ever done that recreationally or whatever, you're doing it, and you know you shouldn't be doing it, and you're trying to get yourself set for that last hop, and it just doesn't go the way it's supposed to. And it's almost, I can't do it, I can't do it, I shouldn't do it, I shouldn't do it, I'm doing it.
Boy, it's hard not to do. The other thing he didn't do, he didn't get in front of that baseball.
Yeah, I think
you
that
can
was
back
bigger.
up if you get in front, but if you back up and don't get in front, then you're going to get eaten alive.
I started to say, Tom, I think that was even the bigger sin than backing up, because it was a situation where another hop step or a step and slide, and he's going to be in front of it. And okay, if it's off his legs, well, then there's no way in the world that Mucker scores.
First error of the night for either team. It comes here in the ninth inning. Scott Hilt is at the plate now. He's 1 for 3, a single, hitting 150. This is a guy you could double if he hits it right at somebody. D'Amico's in a step or two at third, and Miranda obviously holding the runner at first base. The other two infielders are playing back in double play depth. Morrison misses down low, and it's now 2-0.
Now, here's where young players, Morrison and D'Amico in particular, have to forget about it. They cannot erase the play. They didn't give up a run. You've got to concentrate on the batter there and get out of the inning. And sometimes that seems very obvious, but sometimes you're still kicking yourself around, and you can't afford to do that.
There goes the runner. He's got second base stolen. Nobody covering, but the Whitecaps just let him run right through. So Gordon goes down to second base. And now the Whitecaps are going to have to play the infield in everywhere, I would think.
Here they
double
come.
play no longer in order.
They're all coming on the edge
I was
of the
going to say before that last pitch, John, the Whitecaps infielders are facing a decision here. They're playing back at short and second. On a ground ball, do they go for two or do they try to come home? Now everybody's in real tight, perhaps a little bit too tight here.
Boy,
especially Soriano. This is ripped into center field, and this is going to be a game ender. This will score two. It gets past Soriano. It'll be a double for Hilt. 2 runs are in, and suddenly the Whitecaps have fallen behind 4-1, and that's pitching in some real tough luck if you're Chris Morrison, because you shouldn't have been in that situation to start with. So the error by D'Amico really hurts the Whitecaps. 2 runs are in, and Fort Wayne has now built what at this point appears to be a nearly insurmountable 4-1 lead.
It's a good bit of hitting by Hilt, because that's on the lower part, or that's on the outside part of the plate down low, and he doesn't try to do anything fancy with it, but he rips it and hits it right between left fielder David Nguyen and center fielder Jose Soriano. And there wasn't much doubt at all that that was going to be a double or that it was going to score 2 runs.
Here's Moriarty, takes it on the inside corner for strike 1. It's amazing how much better hitters become when the infield is playing in. And that wasn't a case where he bled the ball through the infield or bounced it past somebody. He just knew all he had to do was put it in place somewhere to get that insurance run home, and when he did that, something good happened for him.
You know, I've often wondered, and I'm sure that somebody along the lines at some minor league level or even major league level has done some sort of a study on it. But I wonder if hitters become better hitters then, because all they're trying to do is slap the ball. Nobody's trying to drive it or pull it or do this or that. You know that if you just make contact, you've got a good chance of slapping it over the drawn-in infield. And you see that over and over and over.
Moriarty takes a called third strike. A couple of inside deliveries that Michael didn't like. But he is rung up for out number 2, and that will bring to the plate Armand Brown, the left fielder and leadoff hitter for the Wizards.
Well, it's a nice strikeout, but maybe a batter too late.
High fly, pop fly on the infield, and Castro will take care of this for out number 3. But the damage is done. The Wizards come up with a couple of runs on 2 hits. There was an error, a man left, and we go to the bottom of the 9th. It's Fort Wayne 4, the Whitecaps 1.
If you've been waiting for a great buy on a GMC truck, this is it. Year-end closeout. Right now, get the lowest prices of the year on all remaining 1995 Jimmys. This Ford utility has it all. Comfort, power, safety, lots of room, and great looks. Also, take advantage of year-end discounts on Sonoma Sport pickups. Plus $500 cash back on selected models. It's closeout time at your West Michigan GMC truck dealers.
We can tell our little brothers and sisters, do as I say, not as I do. But they won't listen. We can tell them not to smoke. But if we smoke, they will smoke. And in their minds, we'll be hypocrites. We can yell at them. We can tell them they're stupid if they smoke. We can tell them it'll make them sick. It'll make them stink. But they will do as we do. If we smoke, they will smoke.
Here's the pitch. Ball strike 2. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Beer after beer. Cold filtered. Smoother drinking.
Here's the payoff pitch.
Miller Genuine Draft. It just comes easy.
MyJack products for all your lifting equipment needs. Aerial work platforms, cranes, and rough terrain forklifts for rent or sale. Give them a try and discover the MyJack difference. 1-800-648-4263.
One last shot for the Whitecaps here in the 9th inning against the Fort Wayne Wizards of Dan Roan. The Wizards helped their own cause immeasurably in the top of this inning. After an error by Jeffrey D'Amico, Scott Hilt delivered a 2-run double to give the Wizards a 4-1 lead. And now it's Doug Bettinger on to try to nail this one down for the visitors. He will be facing Jeffrey D'Amico.
Now there's a shot.
Alex Miranda and Rob DeBoer.
Are these 9th inning praying mantises? A few prayers being sent out or what?
Forget the praying mantises. We need the rosary mantises right now. Or the novena mantis.
Well, 9 is the inning. Yeah, it is. There's a youngster who's not giving up.
So it's Jeffrey D'Amico trying to atone for his error in the top of this inning, leading off against Bettinger. He takes one outside for ball 1. Dan Roan is thinking one thing right now: strikes. Throw strikes. D'Amico lines it over the bag, fair down in the left field corner. He will try for 2 here. Left fielder over to cut it off. This one's rattling around a little bit, and Jeffrey goes in standing up with the first extra base hit of the night for the Whitecaps. A no-out double to start the 9th inning.
Well, that's a good start. You can't hit a 3-run home run as the leadoff batter, and he really turns on it. It's a low pitch again, down around the knees, maybe a little above the knees, and he turns on it and ripped it just over the bag. Home plate umpire Chris Heimler never hesitated, pointing fair, fair all the way. And so it's a good start.
Well, the Whitecaps need to get at least one more man on base here by hook or by crook. And here is Alex Miranda stepping in. He's had some dramatic moments this year. A game-winning homer earlier, and a guy who's delivered in the clutch had a homer earlier this week in a ball game against Burlington, as a matter of fact. He homered in that game where the Whitecaps won in 11 innings.
And has 8 home runs, 59 RBIs on the year. And he's not thinking home run here. He knows full well what you just said earlier, Tom. You need another man on base before you start thinking about that.
Bettinger throws the fastball right through him for strike one. Actually foul tipped into the glove of catcher Scott Hilt.
It was a home run swing.
Sure was. DeBoer waiting on deck for the Caps, who need plenty of runs here. Down to their last 3 outs in this ball game, but they've got a good start to this frame with D'Amico doubling to start off the 9th inning. That one up high. I thought Alex might step into that one, take one for the club.
Well, if it were a curveball, something off speed, you might think about it. A high, hard fastball. No, thank you.
Not around the chops, you're not going to take one. I don't think.
Alex has that unusual stance. Watch when he gets set. He kind of holds his bat forward and upright. His hands are forward rather than back, and then he cocks it just like that.
Beauty on the corner. Strike 2. 2-2 now on Alex Miranda. Good pitch that time by Doug Bettinger.
No activity in either bullpen. I suspect that if the Whitecaps get a second runner on base, you would see a flurry of Wizard activity.
Ooh, tough pitch to take there, just off the corner.
And Scott Hilt held it there for a little while to make sure that Chris Heimler had a chance to study it. Very, very thorough.
Framed it for the man in blue, but Heimler was not buying on that one. So it's a 3-2 pitch now coming up to Alex Miranda. And he works him for a walk, so the Whitecaps are in business. The tying run comes to the plate in the form of catcher Rob DeBoer. And now we see some guys jumping up off the folding chairs down the left field line. They thought they were going to be able to sit the rest of this one out, but that's not going to happen. Dan Roan has made the call, and Stu Clyburn, I believe, is going to come out and talk and impart some wisdom, if possible, to Doug Bettinger.
I think Bettinger's probably kicking himself, and you can say that about anybody, but he really had Miranda set up, teased him a little bit outside to go 3-2, and then the last one just got away from him. It was way outside. And you said that the magic word as far as the Wizards are concerned is strikes. Well, there weren't enough of them there. That's why Stu Clyburn made the trip out.
Hey, you look at what happened in the top of the 9th inning, that error that allowed the 2 runs to be scored. If the Whitecaps hold them in the 9th inning, we've got a situation where DeBoer could put down a bunt, and suddenly you'd have the Whitecaps with winning run down at second base, maybe.
You saw the activity in the Wizards bullpen. That's Darren Fidge, number 14, another right-hander, warming up in a hurry now. Whitecaps have 2 on, nobody out. We're in the 9th. And the Whitecaps need at least 3. 4 would be better.
Fidge is part of the international contingent on this team, a young man from Adelaide, Australia. And here's Rob DeBoer, a guy from the Heartlands who'd like to send one out into the night if he could. Takes it on the outside corner for strike 1. DeBoer scored a run that came back in the 2nd inning. He scored the only run for the Whitecaps here tonight. Oh, a great stop by the catcher there.
How many times have we said that tonight? Hilt has really done a marvelous job behind the plate.
Little things that pay off. I mean, if that one gets by him, it's 2nd and 3rd. A base hit makes it 4-3, and all of a sudden your pitcher and your pitching staff and everybody else is getting real edgy. Nice play by the catcher. 1-1 pitch on its way. Swung on. Boy, he had a good pitch to hit that time, and he just missed it. Back to the screen. 1-2 now. Rob DeBoer. Well, a couple of guys that could do it, John, with one swing of the bat. DeBoer and then Soriano to follow here for the Whitecaps. Still nobody out in the 9th inning. The Caps with an opportunity to climb back in this one. And that's a big swing and a miss for strike 3. The slider sends Rob DeBoer packing, and now Soriano comes to the plate.
Rob a little frustrated. I think the one before that was the one that he was looking for. It was up where he could have driven it. A little outside, and he just missed it. And that time was badly fooled. Well, you talked about guys who can do it. Jose Soriano with 6 home runs. The guy behind him, Eric Harris, with 7. Doesn't sound like a lot, but they're among the leaders on this Whitecaps ball club.
Up high to Jose with a fastball. Hitting only .216 is Jose Soriano. He's been aboard once tonight. Checked in time, I do believe, for ball 2.
Bettinger really unloaded on that one. You could hear it pop in the glove. And
yeah, he muscled up on that fastball.
Jose was wise to lay off it up in his eyes.
Jose's thinking one more fastball and put it in the zone. There it is right there, and I don't know what, if you're not going after that one, I don't know what you're looking for. 2-0 pitch. He comes with a heater. It was inside. Ball that could have been driven, and Jose watched it sail past. Breaking ball gets away. This time the runners will move up. So now it's second and third with 1 out to 2 runners in scoring position, and you can't hardly fault Scott Hill for that one either, John, because he got in front of it, stopped it, but it just spun away a little too far from him. And D'Amico moves to third, Miranda down to second.
How significant? Well, maybe not significant, but maybe it keeps you out of a double play that ends the inning and the ball game, and that's a big curveball about 1.5 feet in front of the plate. And Hill can only stop so many of those.
High inside, and that is ball 4, and Jose Soriano trots down to first, and now it's getting serious, and Dan Roan has got to be a little bit perturbed, and he has already made the move. Bettinger is going to sit out the rest of this one, and we will see the young man from Australia, Darren Fidge, will be coming on right now. Roan's going to get the ball from his pitcher, and this is not going to be a real lengthy conversation out there. Boy, when you're a reliever, a closer, they want you to throw strikes. Do not want you to walk batters, and certainly don't want you to walk 2 batters in the 9th inning.
Well, you called it, and I'll say it again. All you got to do is go out and throw strikes. They hit the ball around a little bit, fine. You've got fielders out there. Now there is a massive convention on the mound. All the infielders, including the catcher. And Dan Roan, not a happy camper as he's walking off. Here's the data on Darren Fidge, the new pitcher. He is 6-5 on the year with a 3.79 earned run average. He's appeared in 36 games, has 10 saves. He's pitched 130 2/3 innings, so he's been a busy fella. He's given up 126 hits. That's almost a hit an inning. Given up 62 runs, 55 of those are earned. This guy blows smoke, though, because he's got 103 strikeouts to 35 walks, and the opposition is hitting .249 against him. So a strikeout pitcher, but he's also lost 5 games and has a rather high earned run average. And he's got the bases loaded with 1 out. Now you've got Eric Harris, about whom we spoke the last time up. When he makes contact, the ball goes. But he's got to be able to make contact. And I would think in a case like this, it's awfully tempting to go up there swinging for the wall and to end it with 1 fell swoop, but you don't want to do that.
Well, I'd like to see Eric Harris take a pitch in this situation with the new guy on the mound just to get a bearing on his velocity. Kind of hard to tell when you're in the on-deck circle as Eric is right now, but Fidge is obviously a guy who can bring it. He and Bettinger are interchanged in that stoppers role for the save role for the Fort Wayne Wizards. One guy with 10 saves, the other with 9. So they've both been used in this situation. Roan did not want to get this far deep into his bullpen tonight, but he's been forced to do so. So it's up to the Big Cat, who could really write a chapter with 1 swing of the bat here tonight. It's 4-1, the Wizards leading. 1 gone. The Caps have loaded the bases here in the bottom of the 9th inning.
We often talk about young players learning and evolving and maturing. Here's the case where a little discipline at the plate can go a long way.
Good pitch on the outside corner for strike 1. And there we see Soriano at first. Alex Miranda at second, and Jeffrey D'Amico is our base runner at third base. And here's Eric Harris against Darren Fidge, and this one's outside. A spinner evens the count at 1-1. You don't want to give this guy an inside fastball. I'm sure Fidge realizes that. I suspect, John, that he was sitting down in the bullpen a little while ago when Eric Harris hit that howitzer shot that almost took out 6 or 8 people. Swing and a miss.
Anxious.
Yeah.
He went digging at one down at his feet.
Sort of guessing, I suspect, on that one. Thought he saw the good heater, and instead it was a good location for the slider from Fidge. And now Harris is behind in the count, 1-2. Freddie Soriano will bat next if the Caps keep it going here.
Discipline.
Ooh. That is the essence of baseball right there. A high fastball and a fastball hitter, and great confrontation. Fouled straight back to the screen. Ball might have been out of the zone, but it's the kind of ball that will occasionally leave the yard in the other direction as well.
I don't know. I think you need a tennis racket to hit that one. I think that's the one, as tempting as it is, you've got to teach yourself to lay off that one.
1-2 pitch. Great breaking ball. And that is a pitcher's pitch by Darren Fidge, the guy from Australia. You know, you can fault Harris. You got to swing. It's a strike. And he just couldn't make contact in that case.
He set him up with that high hard one, Tom. He had him wailing at the one up over the bill of his cap, and then he comes back with something, yanks the string a little bit, and Harris is trying to lay off, can't do it. I think whether he swung or not, that would have been called strike 3 because the location was just ideal.
Perfect. Here's Freddie, last chance for the Whitecaps. Freddie hits a high fly ball that'll drift into the stands down the left field line. Well, if one of our guys with real power could turn on one like that, we might have an exciting moment. Freddie's turned on a couple here tonight. On a night when most Whitecaps players have not been able to pull the offerings of the pitchers that have been used here so far. Primarily Jason Bell, the starter, who was great in his innings of work. This one is low and outside. Hilt got a little break there. That ball hit the foot of the umpire after it skipped away from him. Not sure it would have gone far enough, but had it gone past him at all and a run would have scored, we would have had the tying run down in scoring position at second base.
You know, the Red Wings have not resolved the Mike Vernon situation. They might look at Scott Hilt because he's kept everything in front of him, controlled the rebound.
Absolutely no 5-hole on this kid, no doubt about it. Whoa! Doesn't matter. That was top shelf that time. And a run has scored, and as I was alluding to a couple of moments ago, one back to the screen, and you have got the tying run in scoring position.
And he just got carried away with that. I think he overthrew it. It was about 3 feet outside and down in the dirt. And not even Dominic Hasek is going to save that one. That's inside the pipes there. There's nothing that Hilt can do except turn around and fetch it.
And Danny Rone's got to be making a move toward the Malox bottle in the dugout. Wow. Looked as though this one, for all intents and purposes, was over, but if Freddie can get one into the outfield, the Caps can perhaps pull it out yet. That one on the corner for strike 2, and Freddie is really upset. That's the ball that he likes out over the plate, low. He's a low ball hitter.
And all you think about now is the 2 runs that the Wizards added in the top of the 9th.
Chance for Freddie Soriano, and the pitch. Driven hard to left, and Freddie turned on another one. He got the bat out in front. Didn't hit this one quite as far as the ball he hit earlier in the game, but boy, still put a pretty good charge to that one, the little guy did.
It may make Darren Fidge think twice about anything but a hard one inside. You know, break him on the hands, bust him in on the hands. See if he can turn on a fastball that quickly. Because I'm not sure that was Fidge's hard stuff there.
2-2 pitch coming up again to Fred Soriano, the shortstop for the Whitecaps. Swung on and missed. He got him on a high, hard one to end the ball game. And Fidge does a masterful job in relief, slamming the door shut on the Whitecaps, who rally and score a run in the 9th, but still come up a couple of short. Final score here tonight, it's Fort Wayne 4 and the Whitecaps 2, in time now for our tailor-made play of the game.
Our play of the game was back in the first inning. And we'll take a look at that. It proved to be probably the significant play in this entire game. because starting pitcher Andy Smith struggled. He walked Armand Brown, got a couple of bouncers to second base. Then with 2 outs and a runner at third, he walked Troy Fort. No damage done. 2 on, 2 out. Kelsey Mucker is at bat. Again, runners at first and third with 2 outs. And Mucker, the right fielder, facing Andy Smith, just wanting to drive the ball, get a run in. Well, that's exactly what he did. Our tailor-made play of the game. Kelsey Mucker, 2 outs in the first inning. Andy Smith almost out of a jam, but not quite. Mucker drives this into the gap in right center field. It scores Armand Brown. It scores Troy Fortin. It gives the Fort Wayne Wizards the 2-0 lead, a lead they would never relinquish. They go on to win at 4-2. That's our tailor-made play of the game, and we'll be back to wrap this one up in just a moment.
Hey, baseball fans, come out to Tailored Building Systems. Your triple play specialist in pre-engineered steel, post-frame, and conventional construction. Tailored's design team scores a home run every time, and their prices are never out of the ballpark. See the Tailored team to evaluate your building needs or call them to make a short stop at your location. Tailored Building Systems. If yours is not a tailored building, it's not a custom fit.
Now the Whitecaps give their fans a thrill, but in the 9th inning they come up a little bit short. That critical error by Jeffrey D'Amico allowing a couple of runs to score, and then the Whitecaps coming up 2 runs short here overall tonight. The winning pitcher was Jason Bell. The loser was Andy Smith. It's Fort Wayne over the Whitecaps tonight here at Old Kent Park. The same 2 teams will be at it again tomorrow afternoon. So we'd like to thank you for being with us for our TV 13 telecast tonight. For Patrick Clark and John Matlack, I'm Tom Cleary. Thanks once again. Our final score, Fort Wayne 4, the West Michigan Whitecaps 2. Good night.
This TV 13 sports presentation has been brought to you by Old Kent Bank, Saturn of Grand Rapids, Z-Bart Tidy Car, Miller Genuine Draft, your West Michigan GMC truck dealers, Star Theaters, your local Auto Value Parts store, Tailored Building Systems, your local Dodge dealer, Blodgett Memorial Medical Center, Bombardier, your Greater Michigan Ford dealers, and by Rogers Department Store.